Hell yeah, let's go. Hey, kiddos. Yeah, that's right. Cheer it on. Hey. Hello, my friends. Welcome into another week. Good to see you. How you doing? Beautiful faces in chat. The beautifulest of faces. If you're here, you're a lovely individual. Did you know that? I did. That's why I'm here. You know, who wants to come here if everybody's lame? How you doing? Welcome in. Good to see you after a nice, long, lovely weekend. I guess we could call it the New Year's weekend, right? It's not like it was New Year's Eve, but we're officially out of the holiday season. Yes, the year has started. January is among us. The rain continues to f*** up the grass outside. It won't stop, folks. But I mean, for some of you on the wrong side of the planet, it's much warmer over there. So I won't get too much into the coldness. But it has been a weekend. I do think no matter where you were on the planet, you did just encounter a lovely weekend, first weekend of the year. How was everybody's weekend? I think I've said weekend enough this stream, so I'm going to stop from here on out. But I still expect an answer. How have the last few days gone for you guys? Tell me something good. Something good's been happening. Cosmic, it's snowing over there for you in Belgium. Nice, dude. Does that include water? Is that the water kind of snow? Just to clarify, just to make sure. Tipitarius 07s, welcome in, good to see you. Tech Warrior, hello, Methanes. Just Erich. Eric or Erich? Matt Sully, best Shifty. Mr. Lane and Locke, good to see you both. James Pruitt, Monsignor. Good to see you in chat, dude. Ooh, we got a band in the chat. Hell yeah, let's go. Follow Upcourt Marshall was banned. Mrs. Tomato cracked down with that hammer. We don't like the spam, okay? PK, it's been snowing there for you as well, so no work for you. Hey, dude. Hell yeah, Mom Colin's sick. I'm not going to school today. It's snowing, baby. Don't call your mom baby. Toe. It's going to be 50 over there in Pittsburgh and raining. 50 and raining. Not terrible. At least it's not like freezing on the ground, right? Just another day in the Berg. The Berg, dude. Skippy, thank you for the membership on YouTube, buddy. 48 months Skippy's been around here. That deserves a little brr. Thanks for the support, dude. Thanks for being a part of the Team Tomato. Skippy's also a big part of GII. Been helping to run the website and been periodically poking people in the org, you know, when they need it. And also modding around these parts. Of course, making sure we keep the community weird enough. Space Marine and Goonslinger. Thank you guys for the subs on Twitch. Appreciate you. 27 and 24 months respectively. That's more than 2 years. You've been subbed for more than the amount of time it's going to take for us to get to Squadron 42. Or, like, I don't know. It's always 2 years. Something like that. Something, 2 years. It's 10 degrees where you are, Lane. No snow. So the cold bites hard. You know what I hate is when it's really cold and there are no clouds. So there's just no warm blanket from the clouds. There's no warmth from, you know, warm. And it's just open-aired, frigid coldness. At the same time, though, I love it when it's like that when I'm out on the snow, snowboarding or skiing, and it's just a clear day. There's no sound whatsoever, just the crunch of the snow underneath your board. Ooh! Ooh-wee. It's been a while. It's been too long for me and Mrs. T. Mrs. T feeling better? She's doing a little bit better, yeah. Yeah. You know, it's touch and go, but I think she's much better off today than she was. You're done with the snow, Jermaine? You moved from Western New York to South Florida to get away from it. Watch, dude. You're going to start getting blizzards down there. The old Miami blizzard's going to come and find you. Fola, Mr. Fola, my man Fola. I'm still working through those chocolates, dude. And they're so good. Oh my god. I feel like I'm falling back in love with New House chocolate. Thank you so much for that. Also, a shout out to Lycos. This, my friends, is a new capture card. Can we get a freaking Hallelujah. My man Lycos, I don't know how many of you guys remember over the summer. I had a terrible problem with the capture card when we moved back over to Turkey. And so first I had to try and buy one that would just work because we didn't really have much money at the time, and Turkey doesn't have a huge selection. We bought something that would work and it didn't work. So we were like out of streams for a solid week and a half, 2 weeks. And then I got a different one finally. I was able to get like a brand name one from Razer. And we've been using that ever since. I think that's this guy. The Razer Ripsaw X. This is what has been driving the stream for the last 6 months. And it's good. I'm grateful to it. It has kept up the load. It has not dropped the stream too much. But it is limited to 1080p. And it also allows me to only record at 1080p. Lycos, though, has blessed us and gifted from my wish list. He sent over a Elgato capture card that is able to record in 4K. Now, I'm not good enough to have the 4K stuff yet. Okay, don't get ahead of yourselves. But I can drive 1440p. So, over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be slowly changing the stream over to a 1440p stream. So a little higher quality. And we'll also be... all of the videos that get recorded, you should be seeing them at higher qualities too going forward. Super freaking pumped for that. That is a tangible change. Come on, folks, give it up. Yeah! Sorry, it's a big deal. It's going to make a pretty big difference for stuff going forward. Thaki, thank you for the 15 months subbed on the channel, dude. For the support, for the love, for the chat, for the good times. 1449p. Just can't go that high, dude. Can't be getting that into the depths. The depths, speaking of which, today we're talking about 2026. God, it feels weird to say. I'm sure you've noticed the title, especially if you're on Twitch, has some interesting little mentions in there. I am here to talk about some of the more copious possibilities of this year, but also just kind of to also you know, kind of also pour some cold water on that kind of stuff. I invited you in here to talk about Castra because I don't think it's happening this year, and I think we should get out right now and make some very clear statements about why. Or better yet, not why we don't think it's coming out, why it's probably best for the game if it does not. We're also going to talk a little bit about Squadron 42 because I think there's endless discussion to be had about that, to be honest. I know it's a single-player game. A lot of people don't find it interesting, but it has an interesting format, and they have said a lot about it in the past. So I was hoping to just open up some talk and let the folks ask questions and work through our curiosities about that game. And then obviously also crafting is a big topic, so I wanted to touch on that. And really... just more Q&A about the rest of the year. We said that about Nyx last year. All bets are off after that. No, but that's my thing. They might release Castra. Or, yeah, they might release Castra. I just really don't want them to. That's my stance. You guys could very well be capable of getting Castra done and ready for the game. Please do not. Literally, no. It's not even like a, oh, well, if you have the time, then maybe you could fit that in. No. Like, at this point, I believe that we should be emphatically telling them, do not release Castra this year. Please, God, give us content in the places we already have. You really hope we don't get any new systems until they are done with Pyro, Stanton, and Nyx. I don't think they'll wait till they're done. But I do hold out hope that they'll wait until they've at least been able to tidy them up a bit. If the RAM shortage is problematic, you hope CIG knows that optimization is crucial for success. Yeah, I don't know how much a hardware situation is going to affect the way they're making the game. It's such a long-term type of thing to try and plan in optimizations. By the time they actually get around to making the fixes that would make RAM run better, the RAM might not be a problem anymore. What do I think comes first? Farming or science? Farming. Well, depends on what you mean by both of those things. I think we're extremely close to farming, though. In the most basic sense. If they're willing to release a system without a planet, just orbitals, I think that's an acceptable path forward as they build stuff up. Yeah, but Castra's not really one that you can release without a planet. It's kind of dependent on its planet. It's not much else besides the planet. I guess they could always fit more stuff in. Nyx has got something going for it with Delamar, but Castra's kind of planet-centric. Will there be a wipe soon? Not that we know of. But I'm sure once there is one planned, we'll know about it well before it happens. And when I say well, I mean like 3 weeks tops. You think they're going to build out Nyx and release Castra at the end of the year in the same state Nyx is now? I hope not. But maybe it's very possible that they do. Lurch Lord, you said October 10th of 2026. Squadron 42 releases to big fanfare. Should we start recording down what everybody says they expect the guest to be? I feel like we should probably start a... Hold on, let me see. Where could I put this? Let's see. I'm gonna put this in. I'm gonna make a new private, a private spreadsheet here. Perfect. Yeah, that works. We're gonna type it in a full page table. All right. All right, Lurch, I'm putting you down. October 10th. This guy says October 10th, 2026. Give me a date. It's official. I'm going to put your quote down there too. You little troll. Squadron 42 releases, he says, to big fanfare and hoopla. Everything will work and we will be shocked at how well the game runs. We will see each other again in the verse in December, just in time for Nyx to be feature complete. All right, it's down. It's official. Down on the board. Anybody else want to put in their Squadron 42 prediction now while we're here? I'm going to keep adding them. All right, you throw something out here, I'm going to put you down here on it. It's going to be... what is it? It's going to be... Posterity. Vastin, you got August 11th? August 11th, huh? Okay. This should be fun. August, my man's got the early day coming up. Squadron 42 release from Mr. Vastin. Goonslinger. I'm sorry. March of 2027 from the Goonslinger. Goonslinger 6. Dude, that's so far. March. What date? March 12th. All right. Tech Warrior says never. Never. Squadron will go on sale on the 26th and not be downloadable until 27. I like it. That makes sense. We got a ton of October 2026 guesses going on. You wish CitizenCon 2026, but you know better. said they don't want to wipe until they fix all the duping exploits. They have messed up the economy in the current situation. That have messed up the economy. Yeah. I honestly, I don't blame them. I would wait until you know things are good because they don't want to wipe that much. We could all ask for one as much as we want, but at the end of the day, if they wipe and then the same things happen like 2 days later, we will hate them and they'll be no closer to making a success. We get to we get the lovely ability to criticize from outside the club without ever having to go in. November 12th will be the launch date, but only if they delay GTA 6. What if they don't delay GTA 6? Then what do you think? You think it'll be earlier or later? We got a pretty good selection here. I'm gonna actually go ahead and give us the, whoop, not that. Let's go below. Below. Trying to give us a calendar, but for some reason it is only. It is not letting me break out of this table. Oh, I see. It's because that's the all right, I'm gonna put the database that we just did here. There we go. Okay, now I can lay this out full screen, I think. And then I'm actually going to do a calendar version of it down here. And we can see all of your guys' stuff laid out. Oops. Okay. Who else we got? Lurch. Mr. Lurch. Maverick. Maverick's throwing his prediction into the ring. And what are you thinking, dude? August 9th? We got a couple Augusts. August 9th is a Sunday. You think it's gonna release on a Sunday? Or are you is that weird? Is that weird date you're giving me? Is that actually September 8th? Ah, that's a Tuesday. That makes more sense. Okay, I'll give you that. Y'all and your weird freaking date stuff. Writing things the wrong way and stuff. Australia and upside down. Yeah, sorry, not Australia. The Australia area of the world. I'm really sorry, New Zealanders, that you guys get lumped in with those Australians. Ugh. Dude, your name is not easy to spell. Okay. And what's your date, NECA? August 31st, he said, which is a Monday. For Squadron 42, they'll announce a release date and it'll get delayed until June 2nd or 27th. Or what? Of the 27th? All right, Monsignor Pruitt. He's got his prediction in. Does anybody in the chat know the reference I'm making when I say that, or do I just sound like an idiot? Somebody's got to. I know because I originally said it in front of you guys. Unless you're just ignoring me. Which, you know, I understand if you are, but in that case, just keep ignoring me right now, okay? Don't make me feel weird. June 2nd of 2027. That's what I'm going to put you down as. Benefit Man got us at October 25th. Mashallah. That would be great. August 19th is your birthday. It's definitely coming out on your birthday. Yo, Space Guy, we got you, man. Absolutely. Why wouldn't it? My man's on August 19th, baby. It's a good time. It's a good time. It's my birthday, he said. Why would it not come out on your birthday? Midnight Mass? There you go. Lancer's got you. Squadron 42 should drop about May 2nd or May 19th of 2026, one fixer. What? Dude, that's months. That's like a few months away. That's a freaking big guy ballsy prediction. Oh my god, if it was May 2nd or the 19th, I'll put that in here. Or the 19th. A little extra guess for you. Locke, I've got you in here on the 31st. Gunslinger, where are you? You're right here. Just so you know, it's actually you, Gunslinger. Sorry, we gotta stick to the actual pronunciation of the letters, right? (12/14/26). Squadron 42 will go to early release for the first third of the game, December 14th. It will work well, but bring unwanted focus on the PTU from casual gamers. A huge shakeup in CIG will occur in Q1 2027 as a result, pushing to true 1.0 release at all costs by the end of 2029. Do you think they're just not going to be ready for the attention it gets? Honestly, I'm not that mad about December 14th because it's the day before my birthday, but that would also, yeah, that would give us a Tuesday release. Okay, or no, that'd be a Monday release. And we'll save down your notes as well. Where did Lurch's notes go? Oh, they're there. Cool. It's Unslinger. Goonslinger. So be it. Goonslinger. You're guessing Ohio Medic? You're guessing, hold on, I got you. Ohio Medic? What number is that? 5037? Dude, that's a great year. You're guessing just September 30th. A Wednesday release, huh? You don't think they will ever be ready for normies to experience the PTU? Wait, hold on. We're just going to put an unnamed guess here. And in the date, we're going to put never. Is that a thing? No, I can't even. We'll just put 2049. No? Does it not go that high? What's the furthest date I can go? How far forward? I must be able to go to like at least 2030. No? 2029. January of 2030. No. How far can I go? There's 27, 28, 29. I guess you have to click forward for it. What is my prediction? You guys don't get my prediction. Here's my prediction. April of 2036, Tuesday. See you guys then. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, there's not a ton of, hold on, I need to move this database out of here at some point. There's not a ton of a ton of messaging or anything really that for me has told us it is coming for sure. It's not like we're waiting for any certain type of breakthrough or something. With the PU, it becomes pretty clear when something's about to happen because we can see it all happening. But with Squadron, it's just the only thing is literally, yeah, we can play it. Yeah, it's bug free. It's getting close to content complete. I don't know what the heck that means, dude. It could come out in May. It could come out in December. It could come out next year. I think the predictions are good fun right now, but there's no point in taking them seriously, which is why I don't want to really give a prediction because I know people are going to take it seriously. and I don't have a serious prediction. They seem to like Thursdays. Man, they like whatever makes things harder for them. 11 likes, come on, guys. Is that Jin? Nocturnal Jin. Welcome in. Thank you so much for being here. And also thanks for calling these people out on their likes. Their f***ing lack of likes. YouTube. You know who likes streams? Twitch. That's right. Twitch hella likes streams. They said the first game already will take 40 hours. Maybe they have a few white boxes of Chapter 2 already. Yeah, I have no idea what to say about Chapter 2. Not a clue. Niku says roadmap update 14th of January. Yeah, did we get an update on that? Can I? That'd be next week. That would make sense. Tech 2 sup. Good evening. Good evening, good day, and good morning to you. How you doing, Jen? How's your weekend? How are your holidays, man? You getting to sit back and relax a little bit? Didn't Chris mention all chapters are now playable in the letter? He did. He did say that. But it is interesting word choice because he didn't say they were playing through all chapters. You know, like they didn't say they were playing through the whole game. Just that all chapters were playable. I don't know. Around CitizenCon this year is the most opportune time for them to either release or start the campaign for a month later, or a release around IAE. It is super, super clear. I mean, you could do as simple as going to Google Trends and looking up the way that Star Citizen shows up in search results. It spikes very, very heavily in November. So this is the peak of the year almost every year is right here in November. The other peak obviously is May. So Invictus and IAE are the times when there's most attention on them. And I would agree, that's probably the best time to start a marketing campaign. But it also could just be that it doesn't matter, you know. This could make a big jump either way. Every single peak you look at here. May of 2022, that was when the game exploded in popularity. A lot of Twitch streamers and YouTubers were running it. You can see it didn't really get up that popular before that time. I don't even know if we can go back 2004 to present. So you can see like Star Citizen initially popped off and it did okay for a while. But in terms of popularity, this was a really intense time for anybody who was actually following Star Citizen. This period of time from like 2017 to 2019 was actually a ton of growth because we got planets for the first time. They started adding in mission givers and things. Things started to get real, but it wasn't until after 2022 when they had their big moment on Twitch in May of 2022. They had a big moment. A lot of people got eyes on, and really it never died off after that. I think the same thing will happen as long as they keep improving the game. But you can see that every single time there's a spike, it's May. It's May. It's November. It's May. It's December. Interestingly, it's kind of this. It sort of rolled over, I guess, from November into December. And then again in May, and then here again in November, December. So the best times for them to run their sales are during May and November, but I don't know if they need to release at that time. Like you said, it might just be starting their marketing campaign would capture the most attention. Start it at Invictus, launch it at IAE. After IAE is the biggest thing there? Or after 318? Was that 318? 318 was 2023. No? Was it 22? Mr. Chip? Hey, dude. How you doing, man? Thanks for the bits. I'm good. Public hype fell off after 2016 when they restarted the scope until 2021. Bro, this was right around when I joined. Like right in here. It was like late 2017 was when I started paying attention. And then they released 3.0. Look at the lack of spike after 3.0 came out, though. Now the actual chart for funding is much different. If you go to, this is the outside of the community hype, right? So the hype was down those months, and actually the payment was low. It wasn't until 2020 when people really started to get more in here. But even then on this chart, like the public Google Trends interest was not up. It barely changed. You could see it did go up a little bit here, which does match. But it didn't really bump up until May of 2022, which was this. Which 2022 was the first year that they really started to hit big numbers. It all correlates. And it's more so that the game just got good than anything else, which is why I think we're going to see a new plateau, a new baseline for funding after this year, or after last year. Sammy, welcome in. Don't remember if you tuned in before, but you love the videos on YouTube. Happy to have you with us right now. Didn't December of 2024 have a pretty good patch? Well, it was... No. I mean, it was 3.24.3. It was okay, but most people were trying to play on the preview channel on 4.0, so it didn't matter too much. How did they do in December for funding? I imagine not as great as... Yeah, not as great as other months. Last year they did better. They didn't release a ship this year. That is interesting to see that they didn't release a ship in December, and just like that, they did worse than the previous year. They got way more accounts. Holy crap, they got 2 times as many people joining in the month, but the funding was very much down. I wonder why they didn't end the year with a ship, if they just felt like they had reached their goals and wanted to hold off to make this year a little better. So yeah, new citizens did great this year compared to last. Honestly, new citizens, new people joining in, new accounts have done a pretty good job this year. Last year. I keep saying last year and this year. Mostly people that already knew in the olden days. 20s were the years of the new people. They're already old and burned out then. Yeah. Isn't it sad that December is the only month that made them less money than in 2024? Right? And it's the one month where they didn't release a ship. The game was also rough in the last 2 weeks. I think the game performing worse definitely leads to them making less money. There was no In Case You Missed It sale. That should be happening at the end of January. So we're not there yet for that. In fact, It is a weird time. It's January, which is a quiet time for Star Citizen. Not much is happening. They've released their fourth quarter update. There are a couple people in the office that are keeping things pretty much good to go. Well, as good as you could ask for. But the company itself is pretty quiet. The devs are not too active on Spectrum. There's a little bit of activity. There aren't any new posts coming out. We haven't gotten anything in 2 weeks. And obviously there are no new ship sales or ISC or inside Star Citizen or anything like that. It is a quiet time for Star Citizen and for CIG. Quietest of the year. But we can still look at previous years and see maybe what we could be expecting. So first we're going to scroll back all the way to the comm links of last year. And that'll show us actually that there wasn't anything really going on in January of last year at this time. They were just kind of getting us ready for the next year. They are actually doing all of their planning right now. Or at least that's what they tell us. I think that they're just all hanging out in Cabo having a vacation. But what do I know? That's a joke, by the way. I don't actually think that. So if we go back to last year's January, we'll find that there was a gap between the last post of the previous year, and then This Week in Star Citizen of the following year. Now, that is today in this year, so we should be getting this post today. There is a post to the message of the day, I believe, talking about a roadmap roundup coming out next week. And if we go and look back at last year's first couple weeks of the year, I don't actually see a roadmap roundup, so that we might be getting that earlier than we did last year, which is good. They actually waited, I think, until February last year to do their roadmap roundup. Here's a 26th. Let's see if there's any others. We had that monthly report. The In Case You Missed It sale. But I don't see any roadmap roundup. So the In Case You Missed It sale last year, it looks like it happened around mid-January. I released a video that shows all of the ships that came out in the previous year. Should help you if you're looking to get a bit of a recap. But this is a bit of a new style of sale that they've been doing that I'm not crazy about. But it will be happening. The November and December monthly report also comes together in January because we don't get that December monthly report. This one isn't necessarily that much bigger, even though it's been held back for a month. But it should give us a little bit of information on what they're doing at the end of the year and some insight into what's going on towards the beginning of this upcoming year. The weird thing is, this sort of stuff doesn't necessarily get into the game, I don't think. So last time we got a November-December roadmap monthly report, they were talking about the contested zones, which did come in immediately after. They were talking about connecting Pyro, server crash recovery. They were rebalancing some stuff economy-wise. Working on some of their... Yeah, see, a lot of it was like we are supporting the end-of-the-year stuff. A lot of this very well might be, oh, we were working on Nix and engineering and the last narrative stuff of 2025. It might not be that interesting 2026 info we're looking for. We've got a new message of the day. Sounds like. See if I can log in real quick. What's the secret code for the giveaway? I got you. I got you, Mrs. T told me. Happy Tomato Year. All right, message of the day is reading, Happy New Year's, everyone. Throughout this week, we will be looking through 4.5 hot fixes for live and working on inclusions for the next release. We'll update here soon once we have a hot fix updates and are closer to our next Evocati PTU cycle. So, preparing for the next Evocati, it likely means we'll be seeing Evocati sometime this month, which means we'll be getting some kind of a patch towards the end of this month. Now, I don't think it's going to be 4.6. I imagine it's 4.5.1. They don't even have 4.6 on the roadmap yet, which means they're still not even that tentatively sure about what might be in the patch. But I imagine next week, we will have something. Hold on, let's see. We got another SC testing chat message here. It says, throughout this week, we'll be looking through 4.5 hot fixes. Yeah, it's the same thing. So I don't think there's anything here about a roadmap update. Somebody, you guys are saying there's one? Did Niku say something that I'm missing? No, the links don't work in the chat. Anybody just point me into the direction where Niku said that? I mean, they didn't say anything specific about Evocati being in soon, but if they're saying we will update here once we have hot fixes and are closer to our next Evocati patch cycle, then that means that within the next couple of updates, they should have an Evocati patch cycle planned. So, within the next 2 or 3 weeks, I imagine, they'll have something to say about Evocati. $5 a.m. Oh, he posted it in French. I will just have to get this translated. Gosh dang it, Google. We'll have more feedback from the team throughout the week, as this week marks the official start of the new season. We have a roadmap update planned for January 14th with some initial 4.6 maps. Okay, there we go. So, 4.6 is probably going to get its first real... Our first real ideas of 4.6 will be next week. And that'll be the first thing that really tells us what the heck is going on. But as of right now, this is pretty normal. Honestly, we don't usually get roadmap updates this early on in the year. They usually come in February because they spend a lot of time. I mean, a lot of time doing their plans and getting everything figured out that they want going forward so that they can give us this sort of big dump. This is what happened last year. We got this huge dump of what's coming after 4.0 and everything getting brought onto this roadmap. But it still doesn't say that much about like what's coming immediately after. You can see this was about the 1.0. Yeah, this is about 4.0.1. But a lot of this was just kind of, here's what's being worked on. So the roadmap roundup is one thing, because it will tell us some stuff. But the fact that they're giving us a good look at 4.6 now means that they are more securely on their cadence this year. I think that there's going to be less of a disruption in our content and in everything going forward than there usually is. Now, besides that, we also have the Daymar Rally going on this month. I do not know if I'm going to be in it this year, covering it. Usually I go in there and I can cover it live. I like to make a video about it. Just, support the crew and give you guys an alternative view at it. We still have our teams in there. GII Racing is very much going at it. I think we got 2 teams this year, 2 or 3 teams. Vastin running racing as always, like a real one. And we will be taking part. I will have the runners, the creators of the Daymar Rally on the podcast in a couple of weeks. So even if I'm not in there, definitely drop by on the second channel, check that out, see if there's any cool insight if you're into this kind of thing. It's a huge race though. It's freaking 500 kilometers, 510 kilometers across Daymar, real time. Takes like 4 hours, three or 4 hours on the smallest, on the shortest, and like up to 8 hours from the longest route. So it's certainly not a normal thing. You don't see this in video games very often. And I think if you are into Star Citizen and what makes it unique, consider checking this out. It'll be on January 23rd. No, 24th. And it's going to be like a most of the day thing. So you can pop in, pop out whenever you'd like and just see how things are going. Come in and cheer on GII. Cheer on your folks. That's mostly it, to be quite honest. We'll meet back up for the roadmap roundup, but that's really a look at what's going to be coming up this month, what we have planned for the next few weeks. Keep an eye out for 4.6 in case you missed it. Sale, Daymar Rally, and of course we'll have some more roadmap news and other stuff coming up over the next couple weeks. Cheers. One hour for bikes, 3 to 4 for trucks and buggies. Is it only 3 to 4 now? It's faster than I thought. Sorry guys, just assigning something here on that new video. Four hours is still wild for a video game. Yeah, it's shorter though. That's shorter than it used to be. It used to, I mean, I guess it's 4 hours maybe from race start, but from the start of the day, you're getting started at like 7 a.m. PST. And you're not finishing the race. The whole thing's not finishing up until like 4 or 5 p.m. in my experience. Most are using the Lynx as it has acceleration faster and recovers faster from turns. The Mule. People are going to be driving the Mule this year? That sounds kind of miserable. MDC should be an interesting one though, and the MTC. But it is 4 hours. It's an endurance race, and it really is something special. I mean, it's not the most exciting thing, but golly gee will, it freaking curs. Star Citizen creates some phenomenally cool situations. All right, y'all want to talk about the Castra system? Toes. Come to think of it, I don't think we've seen a single mention of the Castra system in any monthly reports. Like I couldn't. What? Drake Castra ship? Dude, these AI things are so dumb. AI overview. The Star Citizen monthly report Castra likely refers to updates on the Drake Castra ship, a heavy-duty mining vessel, with recent reports from mid to late 2025 mentioning its progression through development stages like gray box, LODs, and internal design. often alongside other ships like the Kraken and Perseus, focusing on interior details, component accessibility, and integration into the game's universe. What the f, Google? Just coming up with stuff. The Castra, as part of various ship teams, moved through stages like... what the fuck, dude? Just making stuff up. You guys excited for the Drake Castra? Oh, man. No, there's no Castra ship. These AI summaries and stuff are just really dumb. But, like, I do want to see... Yeah, I don't think there's been any mention of Castra whatsoever anywhere. Which is why I wanted to talk about it today. Yeah, it's just hallucinating. I want a Drake Castra now, though. The name sounds cool. I'll take it. Google's LLM is one of the worst in the industry. Honestly, I've had good experiences with it, but I'm not going to depend on any LLM to tell me about a ship in Star Citizen, whether it exists or not. Oh no. It's just making things up. It's like the student that didn't do its homework. Its homework? Oh, why do I have hiccups, man? Whew. All right, I don't want to talk about the Castra while having hiccups. That's annoying. Google's leading the AI benchmarks. I feel like they probably have the most data to make an actual useful LLM. There's one mention of Castra in the last 2 months in the Nix system guide. Oh yeah? Is that our most recent? That's actually a good call out. Thank you. Sla dog. Wow, look at how long ago Nix was. It's such old news. Who cares about Nix, dude? They should flesh out what we have before making Castra, but they are probably working on everything concurrently and just putting stuff out when it is testable, so we will probably see Castra incomplete. Oh, no doubt we'll see Castra incomplete. Is the lore for Castra interesting? It's kind of cool. I actually don't know too much about it. But I think it's, I mean, we could dip into it a little bit. Castra-bound cargo ship. Is that it? Oh, this is the Galactic Guide entry. This is, did they update this for 25? I see. Okay. And there's one mention of Castra in here. That's kind of funny, actually. That doesn't do very much. Oops. Traveler's Guide is probably what you were talking about. Oh. Nope. That's a no. Okay. How about 4.4? No, it's just a Traveler Guide, or the Galactic Guide. Okay. Interesting. Is Castra the one with the big Navy base? It is indeed. Magnus is the home of Drake Interplanetary. All right. Let's talk about Castra, the next star system, which straight off the bat, I don't think is coming in 2026. I personally don't want to come in. I hope it doesn't come in 2026. We got other stuff to work on. We got I mean, we could even see right here we have a few different things in Nyx that need to be built out, from the rock cracker stations to the municipal works to tactical strike groups to the planets that still aren't there. But besides that, I would also like to see Nyx have functioning reputation, as well as Pyro. Honestly, Pyro, Castra, and Nyx. Pyro, Stanton, and Nyx. They all need to have security. They need to have functioning reputation. They need to have a solid amount of contracts. They need to have outposts that actually have things to do. I don't think it really makes a lot of sense to add Castra when all those things can still be happening for the other three systems. And I want to go into some real detailed situations and explanations as to why. The first thing that I'd like to touch on real quick before we get deep into Castra is a little slide here that they have. We're going to do this. We're going to look at Castra, and then we're going to take a step back and go through the entirety of what Castra is. But there's a specific slide somewhere in this. Here we go. This. Check this out. This is art director Ian Leyland. Y'all know him. He does a lot of the presentations in CitizenCon for the new planets and stuff coming up. And I'm not getting any audio. Why are we not getting audio? Well, that's weird. Hold on a second. Let me confirm it's not just this video. Nope, I'm not getting any audio through. Strange. Very strange. Hold on a second, guys. Let me check my cables. You can have some music while we're waiting. Go ahead. Enjoy yourselves. Dance a little bit. Anything? Hello? Are we... What is going on? Ah, there's the answer. Gotta love it. There we go. Okay, we're good. Plugged in the new capture card, and my computer was trying to take sound from that. Gotta love technology. And you guys started a hype train for the chair. I want to say I'm disappointed, but fine. Whatever. Love the chair. Give the chair some. It's a new year, right? We could be a little more positive about the chair, huh? What do I use to stay so organized with what is said in what video? Obsidian or OneNote? Or maybe you just have incredible mental capacity. Yeah, unfortunately, all of my brain power gets used up by trying to remember Star Citizen stuff. It's a curse. I actually don't really save any notes on the stuff that they say. It just comes from watching it all too much. PK! Bruh! Sorry, I just blew out somebody's eardrums. All right, guys, settle down. I'm really sorry. I just yelled. I got a little bit too excited. But PK just dropped 10 subs in the chat over on Twitch. My man's getting Toes Gang started. That wasn't for the chair, right? It was not for the chair. Just to confirm. It's not for the chair. But PK, my man, is going on the board. A true Toes Gang. My man PK was one of the tops on Toes Gang this last year, and I gotta say, I feel bad because I was really excited to kind of honor the people who were at the top of Toes Gang, but we also feel bad doing that because we didn't record it while we were in Turkey, and so we missed the whole summer worth of stuff. But PK, he's got another thing coming. It was not for the chair. Don't say that. Don't give me that. All right, now that we've actually got these videos working, I can get back to what this video is supposed to be about. Now, if you go back, so this is 2019, I believe, and they gave us a real nice presentation here.
It's
Check this out.
more recent to modern day, current day in the game. If you look at Lowville,
this is really important.
Something that felt old, you know, not necessarily well maintained. And Area 18, it was a bit more of a dystopian kind of like neon city. So we already knew right at the beginning that New Bab would need something new. And also, like I said, for the narrative, it was very appropriate. We'd need something that was no longer in our asset database.
So he's basically explaining that before they had Hurston and ArcCorp that both used what they call a utilitarian art style. This is something that you see from the hangars very specifically, but you also see it from outposts, from the city structure itself, from the UI. A lot of the different things that they do in these areas are supposed to represent the archetype of their architectural style. And they haven't dove too far into this, to be honest. They've done some amount of differentiating these things, but I think that once we start getting to the point where they're focused more on content and flavor than just like getting functionality into the game, this is going to make a pretty big difference. But back at this point, we were just getting Microtech, and Microtech was introducing the first new architectural style in the game.
And also, like I said, for the narrative, it was very appropriate. We'd need something that was no longer in our asset database.
Mr. Chip, thanks for the bits, dude. And
so
Destroy, welcome in, my bro.
Internally, it's basically our internal architectural style document. So for Star Citizen, we don't want a kind of a bland game. You know, we want it to feel like it's kind of got a rich history. You know, as you're going around, you see architecture from different periods. Much like if you walk around Manchester, you know, you'll see architecture from different time periods, and it kind of gives you a type of layer and a type of depth to the game. That's ultimately what we want Star Citizen to achieve.
So clearly, now we can see utilitarian being ArcCorp in Area 18 and Lorville is just one of several different styles. High tech being Microtech and Orison and Crusader also makes some sense, but we've got several other things here. We've got colonialism, streamline, metaclassicism, Henoism, and supermodernism. Colonialism is the most interesting and important one because as you can read on the page itself, it says down here, frontier vibe, use of natural resources. And whenever you hear them talk about their sort of method of building out pyro, those are the kinds of things they say.
I don't know if you remember this, but at SitCom in 2021, we showed this new style of outpost for the first time. Now, at this point, we had our art style locked in. We'd worked on our library of content to the point where we could make smaller locations like this one, but with a limited amount of variety between each one. And this is what that library of modules looked like at that point. We'd established our main building modules, as well as some of our larger buildings and a number of smaller secondary and dressing and standalone modules. But each outpost.
So this is in the space of 2 years they do this asset library expansion.
So let's have a look at that library today.
Now, this is great. I appreciate how much they expanded this. This to this, huge difference, right? Could you guys imagine if the Pyro outposts were all built using this set of buildings? This is a much better set. That being said, it can still feel quite repetitive. So with 2 years of work, plus additional years of planning, plus the fact that this was already kind of an asset library that had been worked on in Stanton's abandoned Pyro outposts in the derelict ships, and all that kind of stuff, this was all meant to build into that frontier-style archetype. And it worked well for them because this was something that, like I just said, also was applicable to Stanton. They had derelict outposts that they had to use some of this kind of style for. And throughout the addition of all of these assets, they kind of talk about here how it will also be used to mix and match into different various outposts and towns, and even getting different styles and layerings to make you realize that while it might be in the same library of assets, it is used by a different faction or something.
Did we just see there? Well, we categorize them in 2 different ways, as I said, and then we mix and match those categories together to provide that variation. Now, the first and primary category is the archetype, and they provide that core gameplay hook and define the main function of a settlement. So scrapyards have a landing pit module for repairs and refueling. Mining operations can have a refinery module and ore extractors for resource and commodity trading. And trading posts themselves allow a broader range of item purchases through the dedicated trade building module.
The most disappointing part about all this is, like, it sounds great and it looks good and it makes sense, but then, like you guys are saying in chat, when you get into these Pyro outposts, they're still pretty repetitive. I think a lot of that is because they don't have any life. Even though they're talking about these things having different needs, those needs aren't focused on. When you fly into an outpost that has a bunch of plants in it, you don't see people walking around that outpost with those plants, boxing them up and getting them ready to ship out because that outpost ships out plants. You just see plants. And then it's still the same outpost. It's still a commodity thing. It's still some broken down landing pad. It's still NPCs that don't answer. It's like, while all this stuff is great architecturally, the game itself still needs to catch, still 2 years later, still needs to catch up to this in terms of actual activities, which is getting more and more frustrating, and why I don't think dropping in another star system that deals with these same issues is going to do a lot.
Form the look and feel of a location, not just visually, but which people you'll interact with there, how they'll respond to you based on your rep, what types of missions you'll have available to take on. So themes don't change the fundamental architecture of a space or the archetype of a location, but they do drastically alter the mood and feel, as well as altering the gameplay experience significantly. And again, let's take a look at the first of our themes, our independent theme.
So again, you get the frontier vibe, you get the natural materials that they're using to build, the stones that are supposed to come from the same planet you're on, the stucco, the fabrics. Definitely a strong vibe change from a strong vibe change from the Stanton side of things. And there's our plants. They don't do much. Okay, so that's Pyro and a little bit of Stanton that we were talking about. Now, if we go back to this page, we'll hear them talk a little bit more about some of these other archetypes, I think, maybe?
From different time periods, and it kind of gives you a type of layer and a type of depth to the game. That's ultimately what we want Star Citizen to achieve. So you can see here on the timeline, this is where the high tech is. So it's a lot more recent to modern day, current day in the game than utilitarianism. And it was kind of like the next stage coming out of the Henoism period. So we kind of thought there'd be very much an uprising in design methodologies, much more of a focus on industrial design styles, advanced manufacturing materials, things like that. That was kind of like the core pillars of what we wanted this art style to achieve.
Jump forward now 4-5 years. We're going to go forward to CitizenCon 2024, where they actually reveal that Castra is the plan for the next system. And there's a very, very specific thing that they talk about here, which is why I think that it'll take longer to make it.
All right, here it is. Oh, wait. Was signed, which was a peace treaty between the now UEE and the Xi'an Empire, so the Cold War ended. The systems of the Periline were divided up between humans and Xi'an, and fast forward back to present day, humans and the Xi'an enjoy a more prosperous relations, and everyone's cool. So, the fourth system will be Castra.
Castra! All right. Most important thing about Castra is it's got this gigantic military base because it was used in that Cold War, and there's a really, really important voice clip here that sort of describes the main reason I think it's going to take a while listening.
Since the area was decommissioned, it has now been turned into a business park and is the governmental center of CASCOM, with the Governor's Council headquarters located here. As this base was built during the Mesa era, as humans were expanding their borders, this introduces a new architectural style for humans. Between the First Travarian War on one front and the Xi'an Cold War on the other, a new style called Henoism arose.
So, we now have, this is the same guy, by the way. This is still Ian Leyland talking. We have the first version of a new architectural style here, which, as it says here, is meant to convey security. It's supposed to be bunkerish and defensive and austere. It is clearly a new set of library, or a new set of assets that they need to build a library for. And I think that is not going to come together quite like we've seen Pyro, and definitely not Nyx, which doesn't have its outpost yet, right? Before this happens, we need to get to the point where Nyx is able to support ground gameplay and has some reason to have those outposts, which would, I don't know which architectural style they'll use for those. But it's definitely the kind of thing that's going to need to be, I think it's going to take a lot of work. And then on top of that, they got the factions they need to do, space stations that need to come in, mission chains and out contracts. Like, we're still working through factions and contracts for Nyx, let alone Pyro. So I think that there's a lot more that needs to happen for Castra than what we might think, even if it was at this state 2 years ago. And I'm going to go ahead and now play out this segment so we can look at Castra and what it's supposed to offer to the game together. But that's my whole opening spiel. As exciting as Castra is, and as much as it might seem like it's going to come quickly because of what Nyx was able to do, this is a different system. It's bringing in a different understanding of the game. It's high security, so it's going to need to have a lot of NPCs active, security systems working. This is a whole new journey for them. So I think this is more likely a 27 kind of edition. If they drop Genesis this year, do you think the propagation and inclusion of systems will speed up? I don't think it's the Planet Tech that's slowing down systems. I think it's the features and the reputation in factions. Comes down to Squadron 42. If CIG can push it out the door and have it be successful, Star Citizen development will tremendously ramp up. I hope so. Certainly hope so. The Astropub was correct when he guessed Castro was after Nyx. He was. I'd also like to say I also guessed it. I also put out a video. I mean, he made the original guess. I guessed it in 2022. But I was wrong about the fifth one. I was hoping that, or actually I guess we had Terra as the fifth possible. I was hoping, oh, I had guessed Odin. I was thinking Magnus, but I guess at this point I was thinking Odin. Because we thought Squadron would be out by then. Quite proud of the guess too, though. But yeah, Castro was a good way to go. I mean, it makes sense. It's high security. It's a really cool system. At least for the trees. The trees are freaking gorgeous. They could drop the planets and system without Sherman. Do we want that? Not really. I don't want that. And that's the thing, is like they could do it. Totally. In my opinion, though, that's the wrong way to go about it. We have 3 systems now. The only people who are asking for more star systems are the folks who are obsessed with the idea of there being more star systems. With 3 full star systems in a game like Star Citizen, I think the most important thing now is to add content. Is to make those systems make sense. Give people a reason to travel. You can't keep adding systems if there's no reason to keep going to the new ones. It's just a waste. The dev strategy for this game is so confusing to you. So much is half-baked, got ships we can't even use, and they're focusing on new unnecessary stuff. I think it's confusing in part because it doesn't usually, like, how often do we get to see games built? I'm guessing most games developments would be confusing because it does oftentimes, if you're not the person working on a project, look like a project is working on stuff that's completely unnecessary. The people who are in GII are probably looking at the way GII works and thinking, what in the world is this org doing? But that's because we don't share every single little thing with the people of GII. The team is putting things together, and sometimes those things work out, sometimes they don't. But when they don't work out, we're not telling GII they don't work out. We're shifting things around to make sure that that work still can go towards something that matters to the people. So it's hard to know whether it makes sense or not when you can't get the full picture. I think a lot of the stuff that they work on is generally just to keep the game going while Squadron 42 gets built. We were promised 100 star systems. Some people want what they were promised. Do you genuinely think that the best thing for them to do right now is to put 100 star systems into this game? Like, I didn't say that they should not make those planets, right? I said that right now their focus should be to put content in the systems that are already there. Are you saying that those people who want 100 star systems would go to CIG and say, hey, instead of putting anything to actually play in the star systems that exist right now, just add 97 more empty ones, please? Just, I don't think that's reasonable. They just want to generate hype to sell ships over playability. They definitely want to sell ships. Not a hot take. I think everybody should probably get it through their heads that the main goal of this business is to sell ships and make money so that they can keep making these games. Past 2 years, things appear to be moving quick. Certainly on the back end, things have gotten better. Lots of their stuff is scalable foundations for the future, more diverse versions of the mechanics and content. Huge complication causing confusion is the open alpha, which of course was useful to encourage crowdfunding, but still causing confusion. Right, and like was said, the open alpha is to make money. It's literally like, this isn't some altruistic, they want to make some kind of a game that's running all the time so that we can enjoy it for the pure enjoyment of our lives. They run this open alpha so that we use it and spend money and buy ships so that they can keep making the game. Don't get it twisted. The open development is marketing on its own. The idea that they are doing things to get us to be excited to keep playing the game is all based around the idea of just making sure they can make the game. That's it's easier to, I guess, accept if you think about it that way. Absolutely trying to get us to buy ships. You'd rather have fewer systems with more POIs, and you're a Kickstarter backer? Doesn't matter what you think, it matters what they told us they would do. Well, can I don't, you just said that it does matter what people think. But that's cool. If you want a game with 100 star systems, go check out Starfield. That one, I think, launched beforehand. If I'm not mistaken, it was supposed to kill Star Citizen. And kind of, I mean, it's a different model. I don't think Star Citizen necessarily has done the best at this. I think that they've dropped the ball a lot of times. But the idea that they should keep pursuing 100 star systems because that's what they said, it'll kill the game. Like, what should they do? Should they go for something that'll kill the game? Or should they keep making the game that they're making? You gotta be real at some point. The game was barely playable during the holidays. You're asking me to be real when you're asking me to be real and you said the back end is not better. It's hard to have conversations with people who are hyperbolic and then also telling me to, like, not say the things I'm saying. To say that the back end is not better right now is honestly reason to not continue that conversation. Is every star system going to be like Nyx 1 or Pyro treatment? I hope not. I really hope that they get around to that's what I'm saying for Castro. Like, get around to the point where you're not dropping systems in half done. Let it cook. Just put the actual stuff in the other systems while they exist. You said some people want what they were promised. And I am telling you, it's not going to happen. The back end is in a poor state, though. If you can say, brain damage, dude. If you can tell me that the back end over the last 3 months has run worse than the back end over the last 3 months of 2024, then okay. But when you crash out to desktop, you load back in where you were. When you crash out from the server, you get a server error. There are 700 people on the shards compared to 100 people a year. Like, there are 700 people, guys. What are we talking about? I just that how is it possible that that's the conversation we're having? Like, there are things to definitely be frustrated with. I think one of the worst things is that Pyro's content is awful. But if there's one place that they've actually improved the game over the last year, it's got to be the back end. Or we're playing a different game. He's gaslighting? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's crazy. Yeah, it sounds like trolling. I'm actually dumbfounded that you guys think that. Like, 4.5 has problems. I'll take that. But we're not talking about a single patch. We're talking about the state of the game. Right? I could just pick out any random patch somewhere and say that it was running really good or really not good, but we're talking about the general performance of a game. For a lot of people, it was unplayable over the holidays and pretending the game is not in a poor state is delusional. Has it improved? Absolutely. Is it a game that is AAA status? Absolutely not. But Hyperactive, you're having an argument that's not being had. Who said that the game is not in poor state? Who said that it's AAA status, dude? I said that it's running better than it was. Our backend is better. Tell me the backend's not better than it was. Tell me that we are worse off now than we were a year ago. I just don't understand what the reaction is to me saying that the backend is running better than it was a year ago. That's crazy. Either way, my whole point, I don't think they should add 100 star systems right now. I don't think that they should add caster right now. People can be angry that they said they were going to add 100 star systems, but I genuinely think it will kill the game if they try to just start adding empty star systems into this. It doesn't help with what they're trying to do. Let's look at caster, though. That's why we're here. We're here to look at the caster system and not talk about the viability of this game actually running better. Caster,
Breaking
everybody.
through the clouds, you'll find a landscape full of great lakes and lush crimson forests. And as you saw in the CTG presentation, you can see how we're going to make these worlds with the new technology. High up on the mountain range, here at the highest peak, we can just make out the landing zone called Sherman. Which is fondly known by its residents as the island in the sky. Sherman is currently in pre-production, but I wanted to take the opportunity to show at least a sneak peek. Let's take a look.
Let's be honest, though. How many people are excited for the system because of the music? Yeah, I see you, Johnny. I gotta say, this one is like, they keep showing this obviously this is all like concept stuff, but there's so many ships flying around here and just stuff going on. And one of the biggest things that the landing zones are currently missing in Star Citizen is like nobody's doing anything. This is one of the big things that makes me not want to see any new locations for now. We need NPCs flying around. We need trucks and cargo haulers and security personnel and little crappy ships rolling into the station that barely look like they can fly. These look super cool, but if we're flying into here and it's this giant retired military base with all this space for traffic and there's just no ships around here, that'll kind of be a bummer. It doesn't ruin the game. It's not like it's a reason to not put Castra in, but I would love to see this actually be released with the spirit they're showing here. It looks so cool and bustling. But I guess so would ArcCorp. Imagine if they showed us ArcCorp when it was like supposed to be full population. Y'all think they're going to have the ability to go down under these clouds? Whenever we see this landing zone, I guess you can sort of see the ground there. I can never tell how high it's supposed to be. They say it's at the top of a mountain. But I guess like the ground is supposed to be kind of right here, so it's not actually that high. You think we'll be able to like explore the ground under there? Is it just going to be covered in fog? How are they going to make this? What is this going to look like? Area 18 has such things in the cities. You can... Oh, the NPCs flying. The little... yeah, the little highways that look kind of like the old F-Zero ships flying around. Yeah, you're right. They do kind of have that at Area 18. Still doesn't feel super bustling. I guess I'm looking for ships to be flying down into the spaceport. Kind of jazz. Today's backend has problems with inventory, ASOS, persistence, lag, desync, and so on. To say yeah, but no more 30Ks is really not a definitive indicator of it being better. Okay. I guess I won't say backend then. I will specifically say today's ability to not crash out of the game. I'll be very specific when I say that. I honestly don't even know why the backend came up. I think it was because I still don't think... Yeah, I don't know. I'll admit the backend is not good. It's only the fact that we do not crash as much and there is better frame rates on the server side. And some things perform a little better and NPCs are a little bit more interactive and boxes don't glitch through things as much. But there are still backend issues. It is correct. At the end of the day, we're along for the ride now. I've invested in this game. Really happy to see them finally settling on several concepts, systems, features, processes, when for years they were trying to land on so many things. Look, I'm not going to tell people to stick around in this just because they've been in it. Sunk cost fallacy is not it's not fun. And it's not a good way to work. I think cut your losses and back out if you don't like it. If you do want to stick around, definitely. But I think a lot of people end up in worse places because they try to stick with things out of a need to make their investment matter. Biggest problem now is the audio bug. Dude, oh man, yeah. The audio bug is awful. That's the most annoying part of this last month of development. That was such a terrible bug to get introduced. Feels like it's made multi-crew gameplay more difficult. Different people consider different things the back end. Yeah, and back end's probably, I used it as too much of a catch-all word. It's like Distro was saying, it's Distroy. It was it's a realm of opinion, and I shouldn't say things so sweepingly because everybody's got different opinions about it, and they feel like they're being discounted. I'll say this. Some things are better now than they were a year ago, and I think that's probably as safe a statement as I can make. And I think that rather than focusing on adding more and more star systems, they should be continuing to make things better, adding the features that fill out these systems, and focusing on the stuff that's actually going to be useful to players, whether now or whether in the long run, but like doing it efficiently. If you need to add something now because it works, if you need to add Castra into the game now because it just happens to work out, cool, do it. I just don't think they should. And we'll see which way they go. The sound bug is, I don't really know what the heck causes it. It tends to happen on large ships like the Idris and the Perseus and the Polaris. And it seems like it's whenever a lot of things start to happen, maybe the game gets too backed up, again on the back end, and it starts like glitching and things can't load in, and you hear this like nasty cutting audio sound of whatever the audio is that's going on. And if it doesn't fix itself, eventually it just starts crashing people to desktop. Super fun. It's like a new game loop. Survival gameplay. Exploration. It's okay to be frustrated with a game. It means that you care, but if it's the only thing you get from a game, it's probably better to look for another game. That's how I approached Anthem. Loved the idea of that game. I was so excited for that game, and then it was just absolutely not what I was looking for, and they dropped it, and it was awful. And so I stuck around for 1 week and trolled people, and then I was like, you know what? There's no reason to be here. It doesn't make me happy. You're just tired. It's been 14 plus years. You're hopeful and still love the vision, but almost a decade and a half of just one more year wears thin after a bit, even if things are getting better. Honestly, I would just quit for a bit. Like, I know that sounds extreme maybe, but I know a lot of people who have been better off just like walking away from this game. Even if it's just for some time. But forcing yourself to always pay attention, especially if it feels like it's just one more year every time, is a recipe for, I think, just like not a good time, not fun. Anthem was so much of potential, then EA did its thing. Yeah, well, I mean, BioWare, I don't have a lot of faith that BioWare wasn't a big part of that either. Such a freaking exciting idea for a game, Anthem. Wish it had worked out. You took a 2-year break and just came back last year? I know a couple of people, yeah, who took breaks around when 3.18 came out. And they've just been jumping back in the last few months. You had to walk away from it today, Avocado? We lost Ava! Listen, I don't blame anybody for walking away during 4.5. It's not a great patch. I know I'm talking about how things have gotten better stability, performance-wise, but I wholly understand that 4.5 is not a good patch. Every once in a while, maybe you just put it down for an update. You quit because you don't want to burn out. You were getting tired of bugs, didn't want to ruin the game completely for you. but you keep up with development. That's how I was for a long time. I didn't start playing this game regularly until the last couple of years. For the most part, I just followed it. CIG has a lot backwards, like neutron weapons being PvP gated. Don't talk to me about weaponry. I couldn't tell you what the right balance for weapons could be if I was getting shot in the abdomen. You stepped away a few years at a time from actually playing and checking back in to see where it's at. Still no better vision for a space game out there that you've been able to see. Road to 4.0 was rough. Nah, dude, I was told Star Atlas was gonna run Star Citizen into the ground. Was that it? Was that the one? There's like extra cool spaceships. What gameplay can you engage with that won't be affected by the coming wipe? It's hard to know, because what are they going to wipe? They might just wipe our money and inventory, in which case your reputation would be fine. I don't know. Was that the NFC ship game? I like the idea of an NFC ship game. Just every spaceship has to get close to each other in order to do anything to to bump up. Yeah, that was the NFT game. Is the NFT game. It's still, I think it's still going on. I don't know, I've been told multiple times that it was going to start taken away from Star Citizen. I genuinely don't know what's going on with it now. Reputation probably get wiped when they introduce the new rep system. Yeah, I wonder if they'd do it earlier. Yo, we haven't even gotten through all of Castra. I'm just here getting so distracted. I'm sorry. Let's have him talk a little bit more about what Castra is about, just for those who want to know.
Converted from a naval base, it still has an impressive military flavor. And speaking of military flavor, the original AOV-9's anti-orbital cannons are still present around the defensive walls, with most of them being decommissioned once it became a civilian city. Over to the left of the spaceport is the Sparrows Industrial Park, home to the sprawling cargo yards and manufacturing plants. The Sparrows has evolved from its days as a military supply and munitions depot into a bustling and modern industrial park. To the right side of the spaceport is Fort Riggs, which originally used to house...
Yeah, leave it to CIG to put gigantic cannons inside of an industrial depot. A military base for a city makes complete sense coming from CIG.
...housed the army when Sherman was used as a staging point for a potential ground assault of the Xi'an Empire. Since the area was decommissioned, it has now been turned into a business park and is the governmental center of CASCON.
Business park filled with cafes and rentable scooters.
Governor's Council headquarters located here.
I'm actually into that.
As this base was built during the
Okay, we heard this part, so I'll skip this a little bit.
Heroism arose, with an emphasis on prefabrication and fortification. The designs were robust, durable against warfare and harsh enemies and harsh environments. And from all the locations we just saw, high up on the upper wall, you can see the commercial district, and specifically the Ansel shopping complex. Situated high above the sprawling main base below, the Ansel area originally served as the command center to Sherman's military operations. Inside this building, you'll find key areas like the Edge of Oblivion Bar, which was converted from the old officers' lounge. You'll also find Eckhart Security Headquarters, and you'll find the Mercenary Guild Headquarters.
Eckhart. I forgot Eckhart's based in Nyx. That's right, because he was originally supposed to be in... He was originally in Levski. When he first was added to the game, it was because Delamar was in the game. So they had him on Delamar. I wonder if they'll move him all the way back out here.
Other areas in the commercial district include The OPA towers for habitation, that's the building.
OPA? Okay, let's go, Beltalowda!
On the left. And on
Crossover.
the right, it's the Imperial Sherman Infirmary. There's also the Reeves Military Museum, where you can experience the history of humanity's military and the role that Castro has played in keeping the Empire safe.
Woohoo, human
And
military.
finally, we have Overlook Point, which is the name of the vantage point.
To be honest though, like we definitely needed the military. There was actually a point in human history in Star Citizen where we were very woefully underprepared military-wise, and it was not a good look.
And park situated in front of Central Command, which has the best view overlooking the landing zone. So that's a quick overview of some of the key areas of Sherman. I think it's devastatingly beautiful, with a rich history and unique mood and vibe. Awesome. So before I go, I want to thank you all. You are all awesome. All your passion, all your dedication
Thank
make
you.
our lives as devs so
We're
much easier.
awesome.
And thanks to the
That's pretty cool, dude.
CIG staff, who's the awesome work we're seeing in front of you.
So that really is the Castra system. It's my longest rant about why I don't think it should happen this year. Clearly there's feelings that it should. And I mean, I assumed that. Obviously we want to get our new systems as quickly as we can. But I guess this is all mainly an opinion piece. I was hoping to give you some information about Castra and some opinion on why I think maybe they should hold off on launching it. But yeah, there you go. And sorry to you folks who feel like the game is not doing well. If you feel like I don't know, bullied you for that stance. A disagreement of opinions. I understand. Some people feel like the game is in its worst state right now. And that's fine. It is unfortunate. I hope that 4.6 fixes some of the problems that they're having with 4.5. Because I think that this is what hurts them the most when it comes to these sorts of funding runs. The reason that they did so well last year is because for a lot of the months of last year, people didn't feel like the game was at its worst state. I think when the game is doing relatively well, people spend more money and do better. And when the game is at the state that it's at right now, people spend less money. And that's why we saw what happened last year. And I would hope that they're going to keep that going with this year. But it's unfortunate that they let it slip into that much instability right now to close out a year like that. You posted something in SC chat of Discord. If you check it out, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I'll give it a looky-loo. Having grown up around an old Air Force base converted to civilian use, Castra makes a certain kind of sense. Oh yeah, I mean, it makes a ton of sense. If it's there, why not use it, right? It's not like we don't live in a non-dangerous system in Star Citizen. But it fits with how people feel like CIG is obsessed with combat. A great many military bases were the core of cities. Yes. I'm not trying to say that this shouldn't be the way that it is. I was just kind of trying to make a joke because everybody says that CIG tries to put combat everywhere. So it's just being cannons in the city was funny. Sorry folks, bad jokes is something you're gonna have to get real used to around here. You don't think they'll be able to make an economy until they have big trade routes from Stanton to Castra? If you ever need a limousine driver with a 400i, hire you. You work little and you pay, and I pay you a lot, but you save money on drugs and alcohol, all in game, of course. All of game, of course, yes. But in the meantime, I'll let you know where our P.O. box is. You're not even super concerned about these kinds of buggy patches. You've been through enough of these to know it will get fixes and be better than it was before. Part of the disconnect, I think, actually part of the reason that I got into the argument with chat is because I'm kind of like you, Gunslinger, in that it's kind of one patch or one moment can be pretty bad, but in general, like an average score across 3 patches is a little bit more telling. Moo Daddy, thanks for the subs, dude. For the 5 subs, my man, and in the chat, dropping the hype. Ah, appreciate you, dude. Let me get a moo in the chat. I wish I could like spawn a button. Moo 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 moo. But I can't. If you look at the most recent update. In fact, I'll give you guys a little question here. And you give me your best guesses. If we go back to my poll that we did throughout the year, asking people how happy they are. And some of you already know this because you were on the stream last couple weeks. Don't ruin the surprise for everyone else. I want to hear your guesses. I run this poll every month throughout Star Citizen, or in the Star Citizen community, in the Space Tomato community, I guess. And if you look at the beginning of the year numbers, you had 14% of people saying they were happy, with 17% saying they were unhappy. If you go forward one more month into, I believe, oh, that would have been December. So this would have been January. So here, in January of 2025, 10% of people said they were happy and 23% of people said they were unhappy. If you go forward another month after that, 10% of people were saying they were happy, 22% were saying they were unhappy. One more month after that, we had 18 and 17. That's a pretty big change, right? And I think that's generally because, like you're saying, Gunslinger, a lot of the opinions of the way the game is performing are based off of the last week or two. Not necessarily like an overall trend, but more so what's happened to the people in the last couple of weeks that makes them want to answer a question. And so I think asking somebody, is the game better now than it was a year ago, could get you a completely different answer, depending on what's been happening in the last week or so. What do you guys think would be the percentage of people who right now were saying they were happy with Star Citizen? This is for the end of December patch. So this would have been 2 weeks ago exactly. I asked the same question. What do you think the percentage of happy versus not happy would have been at that time? 47. Damn. You think 50% of people are happy? Well done, CIG. 9%. That's pretty low. That's like around here, around February of last year. Parker, you're thinking 4.5%, 24, 25%, 21%, 14% not happy. Kelly, you're thinking 12% happy. Gunslinger, you think 50-50. Not right now. This would have been 2 weeks ago. You're in test squadron. So 7 people. 47% is that's a hell of a guess. 46% right there too. Both thinking half and half. Happy and not happy. Brig, you're not happy with the current state of the game, you're happy with what you're seeing. Honestly, maybe I should change the question to be a little bit more clear. What are your overall feelings towards Star Citizen at the moment? Maybe I should say, what are your feelings about Star Citizen in the medium to long term? Maybe I am leading people with the question by asking them something that asks for a more short-term answer. Or I could do it more regularly, a question every week, but that's a lot of work. I don't know. I think I might be able to change this poll to get better, more representative answers. If you're wondering, though, right now, or at least 2 weeks ago, about 30% of people said that they were happy, and 11% of people said that they were not happy. Now, I do believe if I ask this question now, it would be a lot different, because 2 weeks ago, the patch had just come out. The glitches of 4.5 hadn't really started. But they were releasing engineering. Nix had just come into the game. And in general, there was just interesting. Oh, VR also obviously had been introduced. So it's like the things are good that were happening and they got people into a good mood. But at the same time, I do think if you ask that question a week later, it would change quite drastically because the patch itself wasn't doing well. Happy with the direction, but the current state needs work. Yeah, there's a difference between those two things, right? This question's not automated. I do it every time. In fact, I do it with you guys on stream sometimes. The current direction might be a better question, yeah. The problem is now I have to change the poll. I have to start a new data set, which annoys me because I have a whole year plus of data on this question that if I change the question, kind of invalidates it. Feelings about can open lots of personal issues. Maybe I ask both. Maybe I change off every 2 weeks on either one. Oh my gosh, now we're getting too deep. It's getting too deep. 4.5, first engine step in a year. Yeah, that's true, Parker. That's actually, it's easy to forget that point. That's the first time they've updated the game engine in a year. New year, new question. You're not wrong. I gotta consider that. I think maybe it's time to change up the question and the way I ask it. You are a data runner. I got no data. All right, let's talk about crafting. Castra is exciting and a possibility, but crafting is something that actually will come into Star Citizen this year. Thank the gourds. Because I do think that at this point, crafting is able to be a little bit more of a, not an answer all. I don't want to say this is like the silver bullet, but crafting really does start to bring a lot more things together. We got some good conversation about it here too. I'm gonna let you in on some interesting discussion here about mining and ground mining, and I'm gonna stretch my legs while I do. Make answers more patch or time specific. Yeah, maybe I'll do it. I think I'll change up the way we're doing the polls on the channel, but I'll definitely update it for this new year. A lot of CIG's direction is driven by keeping the lights on. If Squadron 42 sells really well, they might be able to focus on what's important and not what will bring in yearly income. Yeah, I hope so. They need some breathing room. Toes. Goonslinger. I see you. At the moment, Papa Francois, or ATM Papa Francois, whichever one it is, thank you for the sub on Prime. I appreciate you starting us off Prime on January. Fresh and cold. Listen in on this mining and crafting details, and I'll be right back.
Hey, a mining question. Will underground deposits respawn over time, and how is the overall rarity of minerals accounted for in the economy?
Short answer, yes. So they will respawn, but it is very unlikely that they will respawn on the land plot that you already have. So if you already have a base, you already extracted it, every mineral that was below your extractor, it's very unlikely that the deposit will respawn. So what we want to see there is players more moving around in their bases and basically going through to new locations and actually grabbing new resources. And to answer the economy part of that question, yes, that is a huge undertaking that we have to go through here, and that is like we really have to get certain resources out of the system, and the system being our game. And that means that we, as the system design team and everyone working on that, we really have to work closely with the economy team. And,
thank you very much.
Like, even everything that we pull out of the system is meaningful, and then we create certain values for certain resources, because we really want to have like a player-driven economy, and we want to have a healthy in-game economy that is driven by our game. And it's a challenge, but we are definitely motivated to resolve that and get that like in a really good state.
So what
Go ahead.
What you're talking about there is like the concept of resource sources and sinks, because having your extractor on your base is a source of resources until it's depleted, but then we need to make sure that there's also sinks for that resource in various gameplay loops, so that you don't just have inflation essentially of just a build up of resources you can't do anything with. So yeah, that'll be a very careful balancing act. Yeah.
In Torsten's answer, you mentioned something that I think maybe not a lot of folks have considered. This idea of having multiple or mobile bases. Obviously, folks with the land claims, and we'll talk about the land claims in a bit. You build your home. You might stake out your home. This is where I store my stuff and I decorate and all that stuff. But for industrial purposes, while you could certainly build that location up, then go out, gather stuff, bring it back, there is a gameplay style where you then instead create smaller mobile bases and move them around as you need to stuff like this.
Yeah. So you can still have your static home base with your like first extractor, but at some point your deposit just runs empty, and that like you can still leave the extractor there if you like the look of it, but then like if you still like the area and you don't want to move away, you can just like disassemble the extractor and then like decide to, okay, let's buy a new plot or let's move to a new plot and actually find another resource there. So yeah,
I think that leads into
if
our
you want
next
to stay.
I think that leads into our next question really well. Can we deconstruct buildings, and how is this done?
Yes. You can deconstruct your building. So
what did I miss?
There it is, like you would construct it. There's the construction AR mode, so you will make use of.
What have you done? If I see a mention of the chair here in chat, we're shutting it all down. No, I don't see any mention of the chat. Just Frostbite dropped some subs, honestly.
The drones then will disassemble.
I'll celebrate that,
the
dude.
building,
Thank you for that.
If you have a freight elevator, they will automatically put the material that they gather from the disassembling process.
I appreciate you, dude. I hope you're having a wonderful day.
You will get some of the material back that you invested in building, but we will because it's just
the chair also appreciates you.
But it also makes sense, right? In the disassembling process, you will not get one-to-one what you invested. There is a loss of material.
Subs for the chair, of course. Wait, Fola! I didn't even notice. Fola dropped 5 members on YouTube. Is that new? Did that just happen? What the? Oh, man. I should have freaking known. I mentioned that we're using a new service we're going to start using our new service for our chat, for our alerts, for different spawns and stuff. And I am actually hiring somebody to help with JavaScript. That's a great nerdy coding stripper name. JavaScript and C#, I believe, or C++. We're going to be using to do more like custom reactions and stuff on the stream. I'll figure something out for the chair. Whenever I go away, we'll figure something out to put the chair on the screen so you guys can truly Maybe we'll get a little ribbon that says like chair of the year or something. That's actually, write that down. That's good. I like that. Lycos, by the way. Wait, that box in here? My man Lycos, I was just telling you guys, this dude dropped the new capture card. This is it. My man, Lycos, we're using it. We're streaming. This is because of you. I appreciate you, dude. Much love. I hope you've had a wonderful holiday season and your eyes are doing okay and you've gotten to have some good eggnog and the things are phenomenal. Things being phenomenal is good. Your partner somehow always finds the game-breaking bugs. You are most of the time doing quite well and find it quite playable. It sucks how much you can have a completely different experience than somebody else in Star Citizen at the same time. The game truly does like to choose who it abuses. Maverick, thanks for the bits, man. Biddies. He's a biddy guy. This Maverick dude is 69 biddy guy. JavaScript. The best stripper names are always accidents. Just waiting for your next meeting, Lycos? Hell yeah, dude. I hear Lycos is helping to run the world. He works for this company called Illuminati.Inc. You guys have a lot of meetings, do you? Okay, we were going to talk about crafting. What they were talking about mining just now, right? Underground mining. Ground deposits in terms of minerals. Ooh, or how about this? This is actually really key. So, many of you may know the crafting system from Star Wars Galaxies. Star Citizen is going to use a similar one with blueprints if you haven't already been inundated with all this information. So I'm going to let him talk a little bit about how blueprints work because this is going to be key. If you're running the game with a group of people and you get into a dungeon or a raid that has a really high-level blueprint for you as a reward, what happens at the end of that mission? One person gets the blueprint. Or does everybody get the blueprint? In that case, if two people are together, does that mean they get two blueprints and now they can sell one? Or what? Because the blueprints are tied to the person. And this question somebody's going to ask is, can you trade them? Considering blueprints are the primary way everybody's going to get better at this game, rather than just picking stuff up, we're going to get blueprints for crafting and upgrading certain things. It's kind of important. So let's hear what they have to say about blueprints, and then we can chat about it together, like great space nerds do.
Will there be limited use blueprints?
Yes. In short, yes. We're going to be supporting both finite use blueprints, so like you get it, you can only use it n times, and then also blueprints that have a cooldown in between uses, so you can only use it, periodically. It's just to give us some extra ways to balance and limit certain things, but we're not giving any examples of that at this point.
Yeah. I was there on a Hazy server in Star Wars Galaxies when it launched, cornering the market on Crat Dragon Pearls and just ripping out so many items, so many weapons and stuff, so many armors to corner the market before anybody else could catch up. So it's nice to know that there are going to be limits on some of the more.
The Valakar Pearl market is thriving these days.
Interesting things.
From what I've heard.
Can you trade blueprints?
Yes and no. So we mentioned at SitCon that the blueprints are awarded to your character, essentially, to your character's virtual blueprint library. So if you get directly credited a blueprint from a mission or a reputation reward or something, then it's bound to your character. You can't trade it. But
see that
there will be some gameplay where you find blueprints on a data pad, and that data pad can be traded before you read the data off it. Once it's been downloaded, though, it's gone. It's a one-time download, essentially.
Yeah, so blueprints are locked to your character. It's a really interesting idea. I mean, it makes sense. It's how it should be. It's how a lot of things work. A lot of, I think, games that have crafting do that kind of thing. But the fact that it can be on a data pad and traded to somebody really mixes things up.
Before you read the data off it. Once it's been downloaded, though, it's gone. It's a one-time download essentially. So if you've already found this blueprint and you find another blueprint of it in a loot crate somewhere, you can give it to your friend. But once they've downloaded it, the data pad is dead.
Okay. And eventually,
And that kind of means that in your org, you're going to have
when we have a more robust trading system,
you're going to have dedicated crafters, right? Please correct me if I'm wrong, but this essentially encourages everybody to have a designated crafter in their life. Or like, I don't know, does it get people to live in a neighborhood and give their blueprints to one person in that neighborhood who is known to be good at crafting? Because not only do you need a good blueprint, I think you also need somebody who's good at actually crafting. I think there's some skill to it. So then you might just, if you're in an org, only have a certain amount of people in the org who are known for the crafting stuff. It's an interesting thing. It definitely can encourage a player marketplace depending on how many unique items there are and how rare things are, yeah. Because you don't, if you, for instance, if you find, let's say you get the upgrade blueprint for the Super Hornet. That's it, right? Like nobody else in the org has that upgrade blueprint for the Super Hornet. Oof. You basically got to tell people, if you find stuff while on an org expedition, that goes to the org. Or everybody gets to keep all the blueprints they find when they're playing with the org, but then your organization would have to always use those people to craft the things if your org needs it. Not everyone will have a ship capable to craft every item. I mean, it's just going to be like any other game, though. You just come across a fabrication bench somewhere and you can craft stuff, right? You don't have to be in your ship. You come across somebody's bench or somebody's base and they've got like a crafting bench available. You should be able to use it. What happens if those crafters leave the org? They take all those blueprints with them. Right. So do you then demand that blueprints get stored in your org's blueprint archive with one person? Dude, this is a hell of a complicating factor to running a group. How does that work? Somebody in chat, please. I've not played very many MMOs. I played a little bit of Dune, and I know that's based on a blueprint system. Or like Star Wars Galaxies also had a blueprint system. What do you generally do in a game when the blueprint is tied to the player and you got a group of players who depend on that? You have roles. Blueprints should be available at different levels. Gain levels in org crafting to boost the org crafting table. Should blueprints be tied to something else other than the player? Maybe they should be tied to the data pad and the data. Like, why not tie the blueprint to the data pad and then the data pad has to go into the fabricator anytime you want to make that specific thing? Is that too much work? You can't just click and craft things. You have to change the thing out. Maybe it can be able to hold multiple data pads, but then that's also a lot of work. Yes, blueprints are consumed. You ask your friend or org mates very nicely to make the potions for you. That's really what this is coming down to. If an org goes out and finds something really valuable as a group, will everyone know what someone finds, or is it just the player responsible to let their org know? Yeah, that's something that already happens, you know? You go and you take down the Yormandi, and there's some loot there, and if it gets picked up by somebody, you don't know who picks it up. That's a trust system, and you can't just start kicking people out of groups because you think they might be hoarding a blueprint or something. Dude. If they're consumed, they should be giftable? No, that's what they're saying, that it wouldn't be. Option to bind your blueprint to your org. That would be nice. In other MMOs, you roll or use DKP for things like that. If the org leader brings in an alt, that is the guild crafter. So generally in other MMOs, people get to keep the blueprint if they find it for themselves. Blueprint copies. Isn't that a thing in EVE? I think I've heard about something like that actually, Kelly. That might be the solution. I barely touched EVE Online. I didn't get really deep into it. You enrolls a lot on WoW. I see. So we're going to have a very easy loot distribution system. But the org should always be included in that loot distribution as a chance for the org to get it so we can put it on our marketplace for other people to have. Dude, I love this song. What is this? Can I rate this? This is great. Brig, you're looking forward to crafting and base building? Yeah, you seem like the kind of person. Very like market, economic, industrial, hybrid kind of guy. I'm excited to see what you do with that. Grades of prints, like copies. Maybe limited use copies? Well, let's see what he continues to say here, because I do think this answers some of what we're talking about.
System, I can see that being a hot commodity on whatever our version of an auction house will be. Can we use stolen materials to craft?
Absolutely. The crafter doesn't care.
Oh, did he already answer it?
About the legality of anything. I mean, heck, you can probably steal an item, dismantle it into parts, and make
Can you trade blueprints?
Can you trade blueprints?
Yes and no. So we mentioned at SitCon that the blueprints are awarded to your character, essentially, to your character's virtual blueprint library. So if you get directly credited a blueprint from a mission or a reputation reward or something, then it's bound to your character. You can't trade it. But there will be some gameplay where you find blueprints on a data pad, and that data pad can be traded before you read the data off it. Once it's been downloaded, though, it's gone. It's a one-time download, essentially.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. No, they haven't said copies are a thing yet, but it does seem like that's how it could work. Let's see what they say here about the upgrading and pledging systems.
If you pledge for a ship, will you receive a blueprint to craft it?
If you buy a car from the dealer, can you make more? No, you cannot. Pledging a ship does not give you the blueprint to craft it. You got to earn that like everybody else. But
you have the warranty,
you the ship, and you can use the ship. Like I said at SitCon,
and having a warranted ship is basically like having the blueprint, because you always get the ship back, even if you would just claim it.
So once you've got a ship, however you got it, whether you pledged for it or got it in game or nicked it or something, you will be able to upgrade it. So even though you can't craft directly, make a brand new high tier ship, you can upgrade the one that you pledged for in-game materials and research and all that. But yeah, you'll be able to do that to ensure your vehicle has the best stats that you want for it.
And you just butted up.
Yeah. Upgrading. That'll be interesting. So this is pretty standard for blueprints in a game. Okay. I get that. Then my next question is, how are guilds handled in other MMOs? Is it basically, yeah, this is how it works in other MMOs. I'm more curious about what groups do. Is it just kind of like a trust-based system that when you're out with a group and you're getting things that you guys just kind of assume that if somebody picks something up, they say it? Or do you just, everyone's out for themselves? Does a guild generally run specific guild-focused expeditions, events, so that they are getting stuff uniquely for the guild, and then other times when people are running together in the guild, it's anybody who wants it gets it? If a blueprint can upgrade your ship, will there no longer be a need to get ship components? No, because those components can also be upgraded and tweaked and changed. Like, that's just additional customization for your ship. Trade it within your org. You doubt people would sell you a copy of their high-tier research blueprint. They would rather sell you the item. True. Normally a big screen pops up that tells you this item has been found. Okay. Depends on the crafting leveling process. There is not trust-based systems. Loot is handled through the game. Okay. Wallace designated looter is common. One person loots bosses and then distributes the loot. Oh, luckily we were already planning for that. A lot of times, if a player in a guild finds a blueprint they already have, they will put the blueprint in a guild bank. Okay. You think it's predetermined who will get the blueprint, kind of like how we do exec hangers. If it's something I already have and it's my turn, I can pass on it. Okay, so there needs to be like a good rolling system for the org. It's really based around doing it yourself. What Shifty said. Dune, for instance, gives a separate loot box for each player, so everyone gets the same thing if they open the box. Right, that is, I think that's a little sketchy, right? Because then you could easily get duplicates of stuff. In a good game, you had to trust the people in your group, but then again, why would you go on a high-level mission with people you do not trust? Good question. How is CIG stopping item duping? A few different things. Wear and tear, insurance, item loss. If it's a guild raid or dungeon, it depends, as there is a bind on pickup and bind on use. The raid leader looks at the boss and use rolls or DKP. Also for random chest, if I say a blue item or below it goes to who found it. Purple and up, it gets rolled or DPK. Okay. Interesting. Loot rolls will be necessary. Good to know. Dragon kill points. Makes sense. If you could full loot an enemy, then you can full loot yourself on a second account and make money. How does CIG stop that when everything enemies can do to you, you can also do? If you can loot an enemy and you can loot yourself on a second account and make money. Yeah, it's the same thing though. If you loot yourself on a second account, then your second account won't have the stuff anymore. You also need to remember that when you, like, if you loot stuff on your second account, that stuff is with your second account. You can go and sell that and you'll make the money for it, but the second account is A, gonna make less money than what the stuff was actually worth, because that's just how things sell, and B, the first account 2. The first account won't have this stuff anymore. You claim it with insurance and get it back because you're a pledge backer. I think the only thing that you get back is your ship. I guess in the stuff that you do pledge with. That stuff doesn't come back with your upgrades or any of the stuff that was on board the ship or the cosmetic stuff. Whoops. I think it's also going to be a time-based thing still. Like, you're still going to have a claim timer. But that being said, I'm not making the game, so I can't tell you exactly how they'll get around that stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and guess that these are all things they've probably talked about. It'd be pretty crazy to design this whole system and not have a not have a solution for what if someone kills themselves. Ultimately, it's on an honor system. We had a lot of people mining in a in-out hole and took the Karenite, but claimed they didn't, so there will be a lot of sketchy behavior. Yeah, those are the kinds of people I guess you need to weed out of the org. And we're going to need to start doing that more and more. Like, our org is plenty, it can get plenty big, but I will start getting people out of here if they're just not trustworthy. Crafting is usually time consuming, so a lot of people don't do it. I see. You coordinate on Discord with a pirate group and create chances for them to pirate your Idris. Then you claim it with T3 insurance. You'd still have to wait for the ship. I mean, you guys can make the money back, but what if that ship takes like 2 days to get back? No upgrades, none of the stuff on the inside, none of the weaponry gets put back, and then you still gotta wait for it. Might be something that they do to make that a little more difficult. Higher level of insurance would come back with all the mods, while basic insurance just comes back with the ship. Yeah, there's 3 levels of insurance. LTI is probably the basic level. Min-max gamers like yourself find the best ways to gather everything. This is why I'm talking about it. Yeah, and they gotta... I mean, honestly, I think min-max gamers are going to get ahead or behind if they're min. I think there are going to be edge cases where people get by through the system, of course, but I also think that these are the kinds of things that we've been waiting this whole time because they had to figure these things out. You know, if they bring in the systems into the game and they don't have ways to minimize duping, then that's a problem. We have 10 Idris, 5 per day to salvage. To be quite honest, it sounds like you guys are getting good gameplay out of it. The money-wise, yeah, I don't know. I couldn't come up with a reason to spend money on that right now. Claiming a ship is supposed to brick it. I don't think they're talking about keeping it. I think they're talking about using it for money. Honestly, I think that's why they haven't put insurance in anyways, because like there's tons of opportunities for insurance fraud at the moment. Are they going to nerf what we can get from an Idris? Are they going to nerf salvaging so people do not salvage? Are they going to make our Idris spawns 10 days timer? Probably that one. The Idris spawn time is probably going to be stupid long. Idris is like the penultimate of ships, and it's a military ship. That one's probably going to be pretty hard to get back. Like, I think that even if you do have the insurance to get your ship back, it's probably going to be a bit of a pain. And if you guys got 5 of them, I guess you could run a business off of that. Guild banks have logs that mods and owners can see. They usually have very robust permission systems, so if someone is taking more than they should, it really boils down to the guild not utilizing the mod tools correctly. Are you saying that we're supposed to have guild tools, Gumbo? You're confusing me. What are these tools you're speaking of? We will not be the salvagers. We trade Idris in Discord to salvage. How do you make a game like Rust with insurance? I do not know what that means. I'm sorry. What do you mean by a game like Rust? Remember that claim time will factor in the ship and where you are when you claim it. If you are in a system where there are no Idris available or near, that will be added to the claim time. They can probably also kind of like watch player accounts and notice if you're regularly claiming your ship over and over. Who here loves spreadsheets?
Against one of the other big questions that a lot of folks had after that presentation, WTF, the upgrade system. How does this work? What are tier 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Is it the same thing for every ship? Is it different for every ship? Is it customizable, like I seem to think you just hinted at there? How are we expecting this tier system to work? Keeping in mind, there's still lots of development between now and its implementation.
Yes, absolutely. But I'll talk about the current plans. So first of all, there's different kinds of blueprint, and most of them will be upgradable through research. Different kinds of blueprint will get different benefits from researching them. So like a refining blueprint will get more efficient. So you get a better yield of refined goods for raw input. Or like a repair blueprint might be able to repair a little bit more effectively, stuff like that. But the one that everyone's probably asking about is the creation blueprint, which lets you make new stuff. And a higher tier one of those will let you craft the higher tier.
The creation blueprint is what you call sex before your kids find out.
Of the relevant item. So let's say you've already got the tier 1 blueprint for a gun, and it has stats like fire rate and recoil. You'll be able to see on the crafting UI the stat range for those stat types.
Oh, that's a good one, Vass, and I forgot about that. The more you claim your ship, the more the cost of it goes up. Because with the warranty, they didn't actually say. Did they actually say with the warranty that you would get the ship back without cost, or did they just say you'd get it back? That's loud. Don't do that.
Claim. Well, we want claim timers to be proportional to the crafting timers. This means it's more beneficial for you to go back and get your original ship. For this, we're going to be introducing shuttle readily available loops. Reward for mining is credit.
That's not even where it was. Here we are.
Now, insurance
ordering a crate and it's full of someone else's creation blueprint.
Based on the wear and age of your ship. Insurance, I think you want to listen to this, though, will give you back a new ship, plus any other equipment or decorations based on the tier of insurance you had.
Yeah, okay, so you get the new ship, and then you get whatever your insurance is paying for, so you would still have to pay for the insurance. But they don't say that it's not going to cost anything.
Okay, so this is the bit you need to listen to. All ships bought on the pledge store will come with a permanent warranty and their appropriate insurance.
Yeah. So I'm guessing you still have to pay for it. We just min-max around those timers. I think that's the answer for everything, unfortunately, dude. I think anything that gets done people are going to min-max around it. And it's just a matter of like who's playing the game to have fun versus who's playing it to get the most that they can. And yeah, I don't know how you deal with that as a game developer, but people are always going to find a way around these types of systems. I don't know. I don't have enough game knowledge to know how you make a full loot game and host insurance. To me, it sounds like it works outside of the edge cases, but unfortunately, people really love the edge cases. So we'll see what they do.
And the exact value that you get when you actually make the gun will
Why still LTI then? Because you're still getting LTI. You're still getting insurance. It's just not insuring everything else. You get the LTI is just your insurance for your base ship.
be dependent on the quality of the resources that you put in. When you upgrade the blueprint to tier 2, you'll see the tier 2 version of the gun, and those stat ranges will be shifted. So it'll have a higher top end and a higher low end as well.
LTI, you get it all back? No. Really? Did I miss that? I thought he didn't say anything specific about it.
This means you will always get your ships back if they're attributed to your account. Other ships, on the other hand, will require a transferable warranty, and these are rare.
Yeah, they don't mention LTI. I highly doubt LTI is full insurance. I think it's just insurance on your ship. Or else CIG is missing out on a lot of money when it comes to the cosmetics. We'll see.
It'll be, on average, better. But the actual number that you get is still dependent on the quality of the materials you put in. Of course, the higher tier blueprints also need you to bring more advanced materials to them. And yeah, related to that is that these blueprints have aspects, we call them. It's kind of like parts of the product, so like the barrel of a gun.
When your creation blueprint has an aspect.
Or the grip of the gun or something like that, which will influence different stats of the item. So if you put materials into the grip part of the gun, the quality of those materials might impact the recoil, but it's not going to impact the rate of fire.
I love that, dude. That's one of the most important things I was hoping for if they were going to try and do this sort of upgrade your stuff thing. The idea that the things you're upgrading actually affect the parts of the item you would expect. Like if I built my armor with a different kind of material that's higher quality, I would want that armor to make me run faster, right? Because it's lighter, so I should get to carry more. That's the sort of logic I'm looking for from a crafting system. I'm glad they're talking about that.
Impact the recoil, but it's not going to impact the rate of fire. And this becomes especially interesting for the very highest tier of creation blueprints, because then you'll get a choice of what materials to put into certain aspects, and based on the choice you make, it will influence different stats. So you might be able to choose between improving the recoil or the reload speed, depending on which material you put in.
I just wanted to be shiny.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then I guess the only other kind of blueprint that's interesting for upgrade is the upgrade blueprint itself, because research and upgrade blueprints are not quite the same thing.
So we have upgrade blueprints, research blueprints, and creation blueprints. Creation blueprints. I don't think I have any sound beats for that.
This isn't just random squirting. Oh no.
It's wildly unexplained for anybody who's been here shorter than 6 months.
But if you use an upgrade blueprint to increase the tier of an existing item, none of the existing stats or materials on that item matter anymore. It's just the new materials that you put in for the upgrade will affect the stats. And the important reason for this is so that whether you craft an item straight at tier 3 or craft it at tier 1 and then upgrade to tier 2 and then upgrade to tier 3, the resulting item will be the same if you use the same materials.
So you can't skip a step if you need, if you have the blueprint and you have the...
Yeah, if you have the creation blueprint, you can skip, and you skip
Creation.
straight to whatever tier you want.
This is
The
a really
upgrade-
exciting sounding crafting system, man. I was not really that interested in it, but I guess it's a natural expansion because I love the idea of getting things that are valuable, and what's more valuable in a game like this than building things. So this is really exciting for me. My whole game loop might just be going and finding the best things to craft with, to be honest, and then building our org to be super good at crafting and selling stuff that's really high quality. Context, please? Do I give context? The context was me and Mrs. Tomato were watching I believe how Reese's are made. One of those videos, you know, where the people, they play that like weirdly calming corporate music and talk to you about how the fleemel is put on the porkin. And then it rubs down the conveyor belt until the employees pick it up and wipe off the porcupine. And that's how Snickers are made. You know those videos? We were watching one for Reese's. I think it was Reese's. And they were talking about getting the peanut butter into the cup. And the guy was like, a nozzle will come down and squirt the peanut butter into the cup. And then he was like,
This isn't just random squirting. Oh no.
and with the music, it's like, why does this sound like it's being shot in a porno?
This isn't just random squirting. Oh no.
So we had to soundbite it, and I guess now I enjoy explaining that context every few months. Oh no. Who says that? Why would you say that? This isn't just randomly squirting. Oh no. What, are you going to tell me how to eat my nutritional meal for the rest of the day? Why does this guy sound like he's going to raise me?
In the
All right, we're going to listen to them talk about the actual crafting here. Or the blueprints actually are the most important part. No! All the kids in the background are like, no! It's not! Like the plumbus, exactly. The Spiegelmorph spits on the, or no, he rubs the plumbus and then spits on it. Mrs. Tomato loves that. Freaking loves that one. You'll never have a Reese's again? Bro, I got one right here for you. Look, it's white. It's the Christmas tree. You know what they say about the white Reese's?
This isn't just random squirting. Oh no.
That's what they say. Who is this guy? Who hired him? That's right, it's the Fleeb. I wouldn't eat Reese's if you talked about it like that. Unfortunately, they're delicious, and I'm sure it's because, specifically, that the squirting is not random. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't taste so good.
Tell you about the new game mechanics we're introducing, starting with blueprints.
Why does the freaking male character in Star Citizen have such a flat butt? I'm sorry, dude. It's driving me nuts. I do so much work in real life to get these cakes caking. And then they put me in the game and they give me a whiteboard ass. Give me the f***ing cheeks, CIG, okay? Can we just all agree on, like, that should at least be customizable? I'm not going to change your ship metrics.
Before you can craft anything, you'll need a blueprint. Blueprints provide the recipe to perform all kinds of crafting processes, including refining. You can acquire blueprints through...
Hey, how many people think player-based refining is going to be in the game today? Today? This year? This was something that I think was Execute that I was talking about with on the podcast. Kind of need refining for crafting, right? They keep talking about refining, and we've only got it in the space stations. Does anybody think that maybe they'll introduce it to ships this year? I don't even remember where it was that John Cruz said that the ship lineup was going to be expansive, but some people thought that meant they were going to bring in the Expanse. Do you think it's a goal they have? Good chance since there's a Refinery Galaxy module. Yeah, it could be with the Galaxy they do it. Some form of it, but certainly not complete. Goes without saying, Proton. Avocado booty sliders. Well, that's... You know, I'm working on a video right now that's like the most important features to bring into Star Citizen this year. I should probably just throw the booty slider on the end. Even in the introduction, I'll be like, doctors are so angry about these 5 possibilities this year. Number 5 will blow you away at the end of the video, and it's just me wanting booty sliders. T0 refining with blueprints with crafting, but nothing too exciting is your bet. That'd be crazy if they brought refining in the same quarter as crafting. I would love that, dude. I really hope that we get refining. You'll never be worried about the look of the rear ends of male avatars. Then you're missing out, man. It's good things to look at, dude. A butt's a butt. That new consolidated Outland ship, a taste for it. A taste of it. Yeah, we might. I mean, there are a few things that they have kind of locked behind the possibility of crafting coming into the game. Like, all of the silhouettes from 2024's video depend on crafting coming in. I think there's 3 of them left. But yeah, I hope they bring in refining with these blueprints and stuff.
Various activities. Some you can buy, some you can find, and some can be unlocked or earned in other ways. You can also upgrade your blueprints through research. We'll go into more detail about what this means a bit later. So, blueprints are the recipe, and Rick already told us the materials you gather and refine will be the ingredients. But there's a bit more to it than that. We have a new concept for materials, material quality. Quality is a property we're adding to all resources you can gather. That's an abstract measurement of how good it is at being whatever it is. You can think of this as the purity of a metal, or the ripeness of a fruit, or something along those lines. This quality will be carried forward from raw resources through the refining process to influence what that batch of materials is best used for in crafting.
So I think this and the blueprints are probably the biggest reasons crafting's taking so long, because they got to go through the entire game. Like everything in the entire game is going to have to be reconsidered, at least commodity-wise. And I don't know if this is going to touch salvaging just yet, but do not doubt that salvaging is also going to be based around materials. When you salvage a ship, it will probably have a certain amount of titanium, silver, iron, whatever inside of it that you can get out and use for crafting. In the same way that this is probably going to mean that every single rock in this game is going to be recreated to be focused on a material and a quality rather than a balance of different materials. It's such an, like, there's so much potential for it to break the game. So I'm hoping when they do bring in the preview channel for crafting, it does include the blueprints. It includes the new resource deposits and scattering. It includes the resource quality, all of this stuff. We can't just get crafting and just have it be the fabricator. That's going to be such a bad sign. I don't even know if that'd be possible.
Is more desirable overall, but is more rare, and there are still important uses for low-quality materials. More on that later.
Yes, break in a good way, of course.
All raw materials you find in the verse will have a quality rating that's generated based on some rules. The same kind of rules you heard about from the Planet Tech team yesterday. You'll find the same material in many places, but with varying qualities. So you might want to explore to find the best.
He said it. He said the explore word.
Some materials that are already rare will be even more valuable if you can find them with high quality.
Okay. Another thing we talked about on the podcast. We have no fucking idea how many different types of quality there are going to be per item. Here it says 656. So one might presume that means that they're going to make at least 656 levels of quality for this item. Or is it 1,000? Is it 0 to 1,000? When I get into my inventory, how many different types of quality aphrite am I going to have in my inventory? Like, the questions start to compound. Maybe they'll build a really great inventory system that allows you to see a whole bunch of different quality levels of the material, but at what point does that just get redundant? How many different quality levels should there be? Maybe this is just a placeholder number, you know? This is 2024. It's very possible that they went in, they were like, oh, hey, numbers are going to be dumb. Let's do levels. But then it's also like, well, why didn't they just put the level on here? Why didn't they think about that before making this graphic? That's the painful part. So who knows? But a number system would be kind of nuts. Because we did actually see the way they're doing the inventory this year.
It was hard.
And if you look at the inventory system, they show the quality levels here. So you can see this one's quality level 488, this one's quality level 756, this one's quality level 910. Again, most likely placeholders, probably not indicative of what the actual system will look like, but it's I do see that and I think to myself, oh Lord. Oh my lordy. It could be that it changes visually like every 200 levels. It could. That would still be 5 quality levels per material, which actually is not, that's not crazy. I can't, you know what? I can't even complain about that. Because this is an entire profession in the game. And most people won't have to worry about quality levels, right? Most of us aren't actually picking up commodities to do crafting. We might buy some stuff. But the people who are actually out there in this situation, they're the explorers or the miners and salvagers. Right, I talked with Space Coder about this quite a bit too. Is that quality level or micro SCU? No, this is quality. You can see the Q on the end of it here. It might be a little small on the screen. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's a 1000 quality item. Yeah, so here's 170 quality, 1000 quality, 488 quality. They actually just had it 0 to 1000. Jeez. That'd be crazy. Now, the tier 2 through tier 5 is the crafting quality level. So we have 5 tiers of crafting. Yeah, the ×2 just means 2 times that material. It is interesting though, it says 2 times the material rather than the amount of SCU. Oh, I guess you scroll over it to see the SCU amount, most likely. Yeah, right here, volume. You have no idea how they're gonna make that work with stacking. Dude, could you imagine how... Could you imagine just mining for a whole day and you just have 45 different quality level stacks of a material? They'll definitely have to simplify it. I think this is all a lot of previs stuff. In fact, let's see if the in-game version is doing the same thing, because they showed in-game briefly. I don't know if there was any of the crafting specific stuff on screen when they showed us that. Let's see.
Stats for the resource. For it better, you can.
No, see, this is all the stuff we already know. It's not even showing up yet.
That you're collecting.
Yeah, this is all item counts.
You can see what you have.
That would have been the giveaway. If this was stuff that we were seeing in this build, then it would definitely be something they're moving forward with. But I bet this is all just placeholder stuff. The blueprint tiers aren't in for crafting this year? I don't know. We'll get back to this. Let me play for you guys what they're actually going to do with crafting this year so you can hear it from them.
Going to be quite small in scale. We're going to use it as a kind of a concentrated effort to allow the players to experience the initial UI, the flow of gathering materials of different quality, and using those to craft.
Yeah, so quality will definitely be in, UI will be in.
Items which are better than what they have currently in
Which
the
means
game.
The first
blueprints
version
have to
is
be
going
in.
to be primarily FPS items that you can craft, weapons and armor. For Star Citizen, crafting is our primary progression mechanic. Star Citizen isn't your standard MMO. Crafting
That was
is
the worst screwdriver use I've ever seen. Look at, this guy's all over the place with the screwdriver. Look at the tip of this thing. It's just floating. Look at him. He can't keep that in one spot to save his life. This gun is going to explode the first time he tries to shoot it.
armor.
Have you done this before, sir?
For Star Citizen, crafting is our primary progression mechanic. Star Citizen isn't your standard MMO. We don't have levels. We have
They could
ships,
bin
we have gear,
qualities,
we
you're
have things that you create in the world, you perfect, you research, you improve, and those items, those ships, those vehicles, the armor and weapons, that's how you progress in Star Citizen. Crafting isn't just a progression mechanic for creating new items. It's also a fundamental change to how we handle resources in the game. The materials that you collect, how you refine them, quality matters.
Crafting the weapons, you'll be able to have some quality materials to influence the item stats on those weapons.
It'll be somewhat random, potentially weighted on the location of the material. Some will have a higher chance of higher quality. And once you take those materials to your crafting bench, the fabricator, you can use them to craft, and the different attributes will be increased based on the quality of the materials you use. It's not just iron ore anymore, it's iron ore of the quality that you know will get you the stats for the item that you desire. And it's not just mining, it's essentially every resource we can desire.
Yeah, all of these things. Okay, so this is in-game. And I'm actually seeing a quality rating up here. Didn't think to look for it before when we first saw this, but this one has a quality rating of 164.
Desire. And
this one's 324.
it's not just mining.
This one is 695. This one is 960.
Essentially every resource.
933. I do wonder if these quality ratings go down based on the amount of damage they've taken, if you can change the quality of an item. So, yeah, this might be something that they are actually moving forward with. Because this is very new. This is like in the last couple of months. How is this going to work? CIG lied when they said no levels. They renamed levels to crafts and quality. Still a level system in another way. I mean, there's definitely a level system. I don't know if they're currently saying that they don't have a level system. I think if you're talking about back in the day, I think mainly they meant level system for characters. Because this is very clearly a leveling system for items. I mean, it's tiers. There's a whole item tier system. Sounds similar to Star Wars Galaxy's crafting from ages ago. That seems to be where they're.
I don't
like,
want to be part of the manufacturing
against.
sector, but rather the service sector. Therefore, I can't support crafting as the main form of progression.
It is interesting, as Zeth said, that this wasn't even part of the game originally. But I'm also starting to think more and more that Chris didn't have the full understanding of everything for the game originally and just kind of wanted the space sim to be there. Which is fine. Like, I don't think, you know, if I pitched a company that wanted to do something, I would not be able to account for everything that needed to be done for that something to be finished. But that's part of the big pain of this project. Like, a lot of people, when this game was first pitched, were probably wondering to themselves, like, there's got to be some kind of system where we can build stuff. Because if you can repair things and all that, and they've got all these material systems, why not also have a crafting system? All MMOs need level systems. It is silly for CIG to say Star Citizen has no leveling. Why do all MMOs need a leveling system? They probably saw EVE Online and thought, well, we need that. CIG? It seems more Star Wars Galaxies. I don't actually, maybe it's EVE Online. I don't know how EVE Online's crafting works. What level of crafting do you need for a level 4 expert craft versus a level 1 basic ammo craft? Did you level up your crafting? No? That's what they answered that already. You just need the level 4 blueprint. You have to find the item. You don't level up your crafting. There is no crafting level. That's the whole point of there not being levels. It's linked to the equipment and ships rather than the character level. I like that. I think that's actually what they're doing here, is they're saying all of the progression is linked to your ability to do the things in the game to unlock the armor, weapons, items, and ships that do improve your skills rather than you adding levels to your character. They have not talked about a level 4 craft at all. Predicting crafting exploits on YouTube? Whenever not. Camp the crafting locations and pirate them from the grinders seems too easy. Okay, then do it. If it's too easy, do it, man. That's kind of how these things work. You think it's too easy, so you keep doing it. They bring in mercenaries that start killing you and taking your stuff, so they make money, and you say, well, now it's a war, so you bring back some more of your friends to go and camp those areas, and suddenly we have a cool player conflict. Kind of the point of crafting.
Anymore, it's iron ore of the quality that you know will get you the stats for the item that you desire. And it's not just mining, it's essentially every resource we can get our hands on.
To support this, we also need major changes to inventory so that all of these new resources that you're collecting, you can see what you have, you can order it better, you can understand what you have in your inventory.
We won't have the new refining crafting system yet. We'll be using the existing ones. Those will pass the quality through into the refined materials, which you can then take to your crafting machine and start making your personal items.
Wait, what? This has always confused me the way you said this.
We'll be using the existing ones. Those will pass the quality through into the refined materials, which you can then take to your crafting machine and start making your personal items.
So is he saying the new crafting or the old crafting is going to do that? Are we going to have quality affect our crafting when it comes in?
Inventory.
We won't have the new refining crafting system yet. We'll be
Okay, they're not going to have the new refining crafting system yet. So that actually might be a pretty clear hint that refining is not going to be in the game with this. Whoops. Hey, it's National Bird Day.
using the existing ones. Those will pass the quality through into the refined materials, which you can then take to your crafting machine and start making your personal items.
Okay, so he's basically, that's a confusing way to say it, but he's basically saying that the refining crafting system that has quality will not be included in this first version. Yeah? Am I getting that right? Or is he just saying that? Is he? Oh, he's saying that you won't need to change the quality through refining, but we're still going to have quality from the ores. They're just going to go straight through to the crafting stuff rather than getting refined.
The existing ones, those will pass the quality through into the refined materials, which you can then take to your crafting machine and start making your personal items.
You're saying material quality equals refined material quality and leads to quality of the crafted items. They're talking about the 404 crafting tech demo of 2025 here. I see. Quality pass through from ore to item. I'm just not sure if he's trying to tell us that it's going to work differently or if he's just explaining how crafting works, which is just that quality passes through.
Once you have your blueprint and your quality materials that you've refined, then you can put them together on the item fabricator. This will be pretty much what we showed in last year's CitizenCon, with the UI letting you assign your quality resources to different aspects of the item. Once you're happy with what you see on the preview, you'll be able to click to craft, and it'll get queued up, and your result will be produced sometime later.
And now you're extra cool guy with the extra cool gun, right? I think they actually show what they want these types of things to do differently. So here is the talk about like the tiers and the crafting. This is what you were asking about. It's not leveling from the character's perspective. This is leveling from the item's perspective. And again, here we can see that there's more crafting or more quality readings here.
Stats. Alongside quality, we're introducing a new item stat system to the game. This will allow relevant properties of craftable items to be affected by the quality of materials used to craft them. For resources, just a single quality rating is sufficient to provide variation, but craftable items have such diverse purposes that we need a more detailed system to provide both progression and customization options. We aim to have meaningful item stats for all craftable items, but some examples would be the damage and fire rate of a gun, the wear resistance of a ship component, or even the satiation provided by eating a hot dog.
Why aren't there any hot dog paints on the store yet? Rude.
So, as I said, the quality of materials will directly affect the item stats, such that higher quality results in better stats. Most items require multiple different materials to make, which may each influence different stats. And in many cases, you'll have a choice of materials to use, which lets you decide which stats to focus on to tailor your items to your playstyle. Here we see I'm making a gun with high-quality aluminium, giving me a nice bonus to integrity and weight. But someone sold me low-quality copper, so I don't get as much fire rate bonus as I could have. To go even further,
history joke.
Researching your fabrication blueprints allows you to build higher tiers of an item with improved base stats.
So instead of, you're asking earlier, how do you do like a level 4 craft? It's like this. You have to research a new tier for your blueprint, and that's how you do a higher level crafting. It's not about leveling up your character or anything like that.
Allows you to build higher tiers of an item with improved base stats. So a higher tier item will be better than a lower tier item that was made with materials of the same quality. Making high tier items requires more advanced materials, but is also how you access greater choice as to which stats to improve. This means that your high tier items can not only be better overall, but also more specialized in the areas that are important to you. Most items will have tiers 1 to 3, with tier 1 being the most basic version of the item, and tier 3 being a highly advanced version made with appropriately impressive materials. But you can also craft vehicles.
I feel like they probably could have not revealed that there and then revealed it at the 1.0 talk, because that would have been, or no, not the 1.0 talk, like up here. When they're like, what are we crafting? And he walks in and it's a ship and everyone's like, okay, cool. We knew that.
And vehicles are so important that they will go up to tier 5. providing a way for you to really invest in making your favorite vehicles excel. Of course, many of you have already bought your favorite vehicles, so you don't really need to make them from scratch, right? Or maybe you've pirated, salvaged, or otherwise commandeered a vehicle. Not to worry, you can still benefit from crafting by using an upgrade blueprint to increase the tier of an existing vehicle, including...
Oh my God, there's so many ramifications.
Including the usual stat improvements and customization. Upgrading a vehicle can save a lot of time over crafting it from scratch, so it's a convenient way for established vehicle owners to bring the benefits of item stats to their fleet. Let's take a look in-game at the difference it makes.
It's interesting to think that there's so many conversations around power creep when we are all using the most basic versions of all of the ships and stuff in the game right now.
To have high-tier equipment made from high-quality materials. See how the recoil is reduced on our high-tier gun. The spooling is faster on a high-tier quantum drive.
It's the little things.
And a high-tier scraper beam is much more effective.
Jeez, that is so fast, dude. Holy crap. It's going to be real interesting if that's actually how big a difference you can make from crafting, because that's the difference between, like, this is millions of UEC difference when you're out there doing some work for a few hours or a couple hours salvaging, not even a couple hours. This is, holy crap, that's so fast. If it's actually that much different, then people are going to care a ton about getting crafted components. And if they can make crafted components losable, which I know people are going to lose their minds about, this is the real kicker. This is a super powerful system, really exciting, and they could go crazy with the way that it allows people to get benefits, but then it also has to be somewhat easy to lose, so it's not permanent, and people actually have reason to still craft this stuff regularly, every day, every week, every month. Like, people are just going to have to deal with the fact that you can lose stuff in the game. I really don't think the system is that bad if you look at the way that they're allowing us to, like, insure things and get them back. Just pay the money. Just pay the goods. But, yeah, this is crazy, dude. That's so fast.
And a high-tier scraper beam is much more effective.
Dude, it's like immediate. Whee.
So, that's an overview of crafting's key game mechanics. I'll now hand over to Torsten to walk you through the full crafting process.
Imagine going from like a fully tier 5 upgraded reclaimer back down to like a tier 1 basic salvation salvager.
Day.
Yeah, it's basically the economy driver.
Thank you, Jacob. Hi, I'm Torsten, lead system designer of the CGP system design team.
Torsten! Gameplay guy. It's a bit much, no? Maybe. It could be. That is a big difference. It really depends, you know, is what they're showing us like the highest level of quality? Is this like 1,000 quality on all the stuff? Is it the absolute best of the best? I don't know. It could be too much. It could also be that they're making them easier to lose. It's all up to them. It's all about how they're going to balance it. But I do think that obviously you can't make it so that crafting just gives you a tool that breaks the game. They got to make it so that it's still balanced in some way and not just the meta. Give you back the $10,000 back from the LTI, everything you purchased? Why? Today's stats won't necessarily be the baseline. They may be tuning the middle first. We might be at higher levels. You're right. I think if they do that, that'll be even more disappointing though, because then people will hate getting set back. Everybody's just gonna say, "Oh, you've nerfed everything just to make crafting more impressive." If they have us doing tier 3 right now. Two years old, it could be different. It's definitely different by now. Nothing is the exact same. These are all just examples anyways, yeah. Like the names and the components themselves, I don't think are really what matter. It's just the idea behind the differences they represent. They found a money sink for the billions that people have without having to use taxes and such. Just wait for taxes. The old health insurance. Yeah. PC screen tan. You like having so much depth to non-combat gameplay loops. It's good to remember that too. That even if there are a bunch of story things being added that do seem to have a lot of combat going on, there's a ton of industrial focused and science focused development going on, or at least planned to go on. Like, it's not just because they're focusing on one thing does not mean this stuff is being forgotten. Crafting is and exploring and refining and trading these things that we've crafted, all of this is going to be such a big part of the game. It's the idea that Star Citizen is turning into COD in space or some kind of just FPS game is laughable once you look a little deeper than just what the current update is or the current thing they're pushing. You bet the money sinks are going to be insane coming to the end of the year? We'll see. Gotta make it good enough to where I'm not losing money for no reason. Or getting hundreds of billions of dollars for no reason. Remember, they showed the tier system is also for base building. That too. Yeah, we haven't even touched on base building. Oh my god, and base building is going to have a whole other complication with it. Resource management. We talk about engineering when it comes to ships a lot. But that's just because bases don't exist yet. Once bases start to become a conversation point, engineering, the conversation around engineering is going to change entirely, dude. We're going to have to figure out power, water, shields, how that all runs between our different buildings, which buildings use which resources, where those resources are coming from. Are you getting enough fuel shipped into your base from somewhere else? Like, are you upkeeping these buildings? These buildings have wear resistance values. Those wear resistances will determine how long this building can last out in the wild without anybody visiting it. Much like in Dune, it will eventually break down. So, you know, in industry, crafting, base building, not to mention, this all is just meant to offer you a actual storefront so you can sell stuff to other people in the game. Player trading. This is the second half. This is the real era of Star Citizen development, and we're only just stepping into it. We've been focused a ton on combat and foundations and back end. And that's why I'll say things like, oh, the back end is, you know, the bulk of the back end development is behind us, because a lot of it is the foundation for how these systems will function. And I think for that reason, the next couple of years of development, from engineering to crafting to Maelstrom to base building, ray tracing, planet tech, Starchitect, reputation, bounty hunting, the actual stuff outside of the pew pew. I like a pew pew, but I'm less of a pew pew kind of guy. I got less pews than a church. That was deserved. I get one, okay? One a day. One bad joke. Some missions may require a ship better than a light fighter, but there hasn't been talk about spec requirements for system access. What are you asking? Would you need a certain level? I'm not even seeing that question. In WoW, you need to be a certain level to go to specific locations. Is that what the sentence was? Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not finding that. It's necessary to lock high-tier crafting behind profession experience. Tier 5 salvage head can only be crafted by a level 5 salvager. Otherwise, everyone will run around in the top tier stuff. Everyone will only run around in the top tier stuff if they can afford it, though. Like, think about it from a perspective. Hey, Luce, thank you for the super chat, dude. He said CIG is having to account for the cumulative complexity of its many systems. That's the real reason they aren't going all in on each individual system. That's fair, yeah. Don't make everything super complex. Realistic scenario, if players jump into the game and they realize tier 5 is very powerful. First, you have to think about what places do those players have access to. A player, a basic player, let's say they start the game in Terra. What kind of tier 5 materials or high quality materials that can even craft a tier 5 component would you find in Terra? Possibly nothing, right? Terra's a starting system. It's very safe. There's not a lot of risk. They might put those materials in Nyx or Pyro. Okay. Then those players would have to travel to Nyx or Pyro to get those things. Well, they need to have the right ships. They need to have the right equipment. They need to get the right reputation with the factions that have the proper missions in those systems that even take them to the locations that have those things. Or they're good explorers and they go out on their own. They find those things as a low-level person and they get them as an explorer. They come back to Terra. Now they need to find somebody who can craft it. They got to have the blueprint for it. They could buy the blueprint, but they need that money. Well, okay, they have to either go to the store and buy UEC from CIG, or they have to earn the money in game. If they do buy that stuff from CIG, then they can go and they can buy the blueprint, and then they can do the crafting. Well, they have to be good enough at the crafting to make sure they can actually craft a tier 5 component. Once they've finally crafted it, they can put it on their ship, but now they have to make use of that. Now they actually have to find the materials that are worth crafting for tier 5, and if they're a beginner, they probably don't know much about that. So I think if there are multiple hurdles you can put in front of somebody to use this stuff, it's not necessarily like you have to hard gate people from using it. You don't have to cut someone off artificially and say, no, there's no way you could ever use that. I think they should have a sandbox that allows people to go out of their way to do things that are kind of weird. That's why we play games like Deus Ex, Prey, System Shock. Just immersive sims in general, giving you options is I think a really exciting thing, and I think a lot of people were drawn to this game for that. And that's why we're not looking for level caps and things that just lock you out of doing stuff. That's why I think hover mode was pretty dumb. And I also think it's why people don't like master modes. In WoW, you need to do a certain level to go to a certain location. Will SC require a high tier loadout to go to certain locations? I think so. I don't think it'll require it, but like I was describing, I think it naturally you're going to not want to go to those locations. That's the point of Pyro, at least. You used your one bad joke earlier. Shh, Diz. Shh. That was a good one. That was good. you'd like to have a discussion about what this means for how big of a buff a tier upgrade can do in the end. It's probably small. Yeah, that's why I was so amazed by that difference. I wouldn't think it would be huge. I'd be interested in seeing how they justify there being a big difference between a high level and low level item. It's got to be enough that it's valuable, but not so much that it becomes overwhelming to the rest of the game. There needs to be a hard cap on store-bought credits or do away with it entirely. They put a daily cap on it, which I don't think is enough. A hard cap would be one thing. I'm not sure what happens there. It's a little sketchy that they sell currency. Not gonna lie. How does making tier 5 material need a tier 5 head even make sense? Because how do you get the tier 5 in the first place? No, you're actually right, Robert. Sorry, I said that wrong. You're not trying to make a tier 5 salvaging head. You're trying to make a tier 1 salvaging head and then, I guess, either find or buy tier 5 upgrade blueprint for it. So you couldn't even just go and make that high level component. You'd have to find not just the component blueprint, but also upgrade blueprints for that component. Kind of a long-term goal. You shouldn't need a tier 5 head. A good miner with a prospector and the correct consumables like surge heads can mine better stuff than a newbie. Yeah, absolutely. Which is why maybe being able to go out and get the tier 5 head immediately is not as great as it sounds. You wouldn't need a tier 5 head, but unfortunately people like myself are so bad at salvaging. We need a little help. Oh yeah, there are only 3 levels for most things, you're right. 5 levels is for the ships. $10 for 10,000 AUEC is terrible. People definitely should not be buying AUEC in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. Yeah, I mean, even for UEC, 10,000 credits for $10 is terrible. You can craft tier 5 directly, but upgrading an old one will save time. Oh, okay, I see. But you would still have to get the tier 5 blueprint. You'd have to find it some way or buy it. Some people buy AUEC because they don't know. They're getting scammed. People will try to sell folks AUEC online, and some people just don't know and they buy it. Tiers have to be meaningful though, and it's not about needing them. It's about having meaningful factors the devs can balance apart from pure skill. Like some good progression. It is nice to feel like your character by default is better than they were when you got into the game. I think most of it should be based around your skill, but it's nice to feel like your character is progressing. And I like that that progression is kept to items and things rather than the character themselves. It's good stuff. But honestly, we've talked about this quite a bit, guys. I appreciate you all for hanging out today. It was a good talk. Mihai, thank you for the sub. 32 months. My dude gets a wow. I appreciate you, Mihai. Has been a fantastic addition to Team GII. A true joy here in the Garden. One of the highest ranked of Toes gangs last year. But always somebody I like to see in chat. I hope you had a wonderful New Year's, dude, and are having a great January so far. Thank you, everybody, for coming to this stream. It was a Monday. We had a little testy Monday. I'm sorry if I got a little on my tomato grind. No, it's good fun though. No hard feelings if I yelled at you or called you dumb and stupid and names and an idiot and told you to go and die. I promise. That's all. You know, that's completely normal. Don't worry about it. No, seriously though. Good conversation, guys. You guys are great. We talked about Castra and crafting basically for the whole day today because I got distracted and we got off track, but I actually think it was really good convo, especially the crafting part, because I got to see and hear some stuff that I didn't quite remember. Thanks for the chats. Thanks for being good folks. I'm going to pass you on to another lovely Star Citizen streamer. We're going to let the giveaway go for one more stream, and we'll pull the winner on Wednesday, yeah? So if you haven't gotten in there, you should still have a moment. And if it's not running, I will hit up Mrs. Tomato to renew it so that it still goes for a little bit longer. But thank you all for being here. I'm going to pass you over to my man Meyer. Looks like he's doing some flying around. Go have a good time. Drop the toes in chat. Let them know where you come from. Show them the good fun, the joy. Take care of yourselves, folks. You're good people. Oh, the secret code for the giveaway? I got you. Happy Tomato Year is the secret code. Make sure to get it in. Take care of yourselves. Eat something you love. Do something you love. You're good people. I appreciate you. Beautiful, beautiful folks. You got a great face. Take a picture of it. And enjoy yourselves. See you on Wednesday for some gameplay and more good times. Bye-bye.